Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. And let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch us, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to theindianjesus.com, where you can get your very own official The Indian Jesus merch only at theindianjesus.com. You can also scroll right below the video here. There is a join button also pinned to the top of the chat. You can become a member of the channel, win all that good stuff. And of course, we have our free Discord server that you can join 24/7. We're hanging out in there, having awesome conversations. And if you are a member of the channel, you also get access to the after party, where you're not stuck behind your keyboard. But after every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday stream, you go in there for an after party. We don't have to worry about the YouTube censors or anything. You are on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Come and join us. Shout out to the Camcast in the building. Welcome, welcome. We got Melted Mind Media, Zippy, the Assembly, and John's all the way over in Dallas. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, guys. This might be another one of those shows where I get a little triggered. So as you may have seen from the thumbnail, we have a Vaush debate with this guy, Andrew Wilson, known as the Crucible. And, actually, I hadn't really heard of this guy until I saw something, a little clip from an episode of Lauren Chen's
and Get Married.
Hold on. Lauren Chen's podcast, where he was on, and this is what he had to say.
Reason. Okay, Lauren, why should a secularist man get married? Give me one good reason.
Well, I think that having children is a very good and very important one.
So you'll remember that I am an atheist. So he is now saying, well, if you don't believe in God, then why should you be able to have children?
Why should a secular man want children? Why would you want a secular man to have children?
Well, because I mean, aside from the general decline in birth rates, which I think is a
you want secularists to continue to reproduce?
So I want you to keep that in mind, that Lauren specifically talked about birth rates. But no, we can't have secular people doing anything in the world.
That seems like a good idea to you?
Yup.
Yes, I think even if you are not Christian, you probably should have kids. We're at a point.
Is their marriage valid if it's a secularist marriage to begin with, Lauren?
Valid? No.
So you're basically telling them to sin, right, Lauren? Aren't you telling them to sin by telling them to get a non-Christian marriage and have children? Aren't you telling them to sin, Lauren?
And so that was my introduction to who this person is. And obviously, we know that Vaush is indeed a map. So the debate here is actually national or Christian nationalism versus libertarian socialism, but it goes in a number of different directions, and really very interesting how much I hate both of these people. But we are going to actually try to address all the points that they make and what would be a reasonable thing to say. So yeah, that is our bully, the Crucible, up in the corner here. Alex Playing with Fire is here just moderating, and our local lollipedo Vaush, who, and somehow, like the title says, somehow they both lose. So as always, guys, if you can't hear the video, please do let me know.
And where they're going to be talking about well, say the prompt again, Andrew.
This was Christian nationalism against libertarian communism.
Yeah, so that should be fun. So let me quickly explain my role for, well, I think, Andrew, you kind of know how I do.
Hang on real quick, Alex. I just want to clarify that Vaush doesn't have an actual issue with the prompt.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So he says, Vaush is an ass, but some of his points are valid. Women peak younger, men peak older. That said, it is unwise to tempt fate and robbing the cradle. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of people in maybe not this space, but a lot of people that we have issues with. It's not like they're so very horribly wrong. They've hit on some type of nuance, and then they just take it too far. So, I right now, we have the running poll. Who's the worst? Vaush or Andrew Wilson? I did spell it wrong, but you guys know what I mean. I'm going to keep that up. And then I'm going to redo it at the end. And I really want to see what you guys think, because as to be saying here, Vaush has some good points. He in terms of like philosophy and stuff, he kind of knows how to formulate arguments and stuff.
Okay, cool. All right. So anyway, for anyone who's new to the channel, I'm going to explain what I'm going to do. I'm modding, so that means that I am not getting involved in debate. Doesn't mean I agree or disagree with someone. I will only get involved under 3 circumstances. Number 1, someone's being interrupted so much that they can't get a word out, and I'm going to use my discretion when it comes to that.
Yeah, he's the moderator. We get it.
Something to an opening. Okay, I think
opening statement.
Andrew, since you were the initiator, you should do your opening statement first.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure my audio okay now.
Yeah, you're good.
Out in the chat. Well, not to you guys. Hang on. I'm just asking my chat. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. Vaush, I won't take the entire 7 minutes. I'm sure you won't either before we get into the back and forth. But first, I appreciate Vaush taking the time to have this debate with me, the audience of both Alex PWF and the audience of the Crucible for coming out tonight as we have this debate. The topic tonight is Christian nationalism versus libertarian communism. I understand Vaush likely has many criticisms of Christian nationalism, though I think most of them will be directed at other people's advocation of it rather than my own. To define Christian nationalism simply, it is the operation of a synergy between the church and the state.
A synergy between the church and the state. Kind of like the opposite of a separation. Shout out to the Funk Master General starting the show off hot. So the poll should have had this option. Both should be ignored into extinction. Well, that goes without saying. That absolutely is the correct answer. Here you go, Mort, from the Funk Master General, $10 super chat. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I mean that's the obvious point here. Coming off of our last show when I tried to do something a little more dry, but a little bit more intellectual with the Tim Dillon thing. That didn't really go as I wanted it to, so I figured let's go the other way and find some people that we definitely will want to yell at and find the brilliance in here. As I almost forgot, I wanted to say it the last time, but if you send me like a Rumble rant or a PayPal or a Venmo or something, please do put it in the YouTube chat. Tell me to check. Sometimes it doesn't always give me the notifications, and I do want to make sure that you guys get your due. Thank you again. Of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you, Funk Master General.
Christian nationalism simply, it is the operation of a synergy between the church and the state. Such a synergy can be operated either under the confines of the church acting as the state or as the church being a division of it in some way. This could operate as an advisory role, which in many ways it does now anyway, or as a division of the state itself with separate guidelines from that of the secular nation, or it could have similarities to the secular nation.
So this is straight up what Nick Fuentes argues for. He may say it in not as much of a bombastic way, but that's exactly what Nick Fuentes wants. Shout out to Guam Tech in the building. Welcome to the party. We were just talking about that X-Men finale, and Friday we will be doing Pop Culture Friday. He is going to be on. We are going to be talking about it. It's going to be lit. Welcome to the party. We also got Indie Film from Kentucky. Welcome. And hello, dude guy. Said libertarian communism is such an oxymoron that Vaush loses by default. Agreed. But technically, it's libertarian socialism. That's so much better, right? That's so much better. Welcome to the party. Oh my goodness. What do we got? Let's see. No notifications. And there we go. There it is. Shout out for the $5 Venmo. There we go. Yummy. Thank you so much. Yeah, see, then it also gives me, something in the starred list so that I don't forget about you, because I do very much appreciate you. Thank you so very much.
From that of the secular nation, or it could have similarities to the secular nation. This idea is in no way radical. To this day, there are many nations.
It's not radical. To say we should get rid of the separation of church and state. Okay, bro, I hate Vaush, but you're not setting this up well.
secular nation. This idea is in no way radical. To this day,
Isn't
there are
it,
many
though?
nations who operate under these guidelines through religion, though I would argue with the wrong religion. And historically, such Christian nations and empires withstood the test of time, though ultimately buckling. Some of them lasted well over 1,000 years. No current product of any Western nation is going to do that. Remember in the course of this debate that Vaush is at the mercy of the same criticisms
Shout
he
out
may
to
levy at the idea of Christian
M169.
nationalism. In many ways, he is more at the mercy of his own criticisms than I am, as the examples of communism we have are less than ideal, and he envisions a radical parting from those systems, yet historically those systems are all we can point to. Under my own system, however, we can point to nations which have prospered, persevered, and ultimately created mostly happy and healthy populations. A return to patriarchy is the order of the day. The way that we would achieve this is the same way the communists and feminists achieved their subversive goal of their attempted annihilation of Christianity, which is still ongoing. And that key is through the demographic shift via birth rates. The religious have a lot of children.
So remember, we just watched the clip of him telling Lauren Chen that it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing if secular children are born. Shout out again to M169. Welcome to the party. Said nope to Christian nationalism. Whose version of Christianity is in charge? Besides that's been done via feudal European governments. And yeah, if you read history, I don't know if that's the way you want to go. Welcome to the party.
Children and the non-religious don't. The future essentially is ours. My plan for such a system is no different than Vaush's in execution. Over the next 100 years, we Christians establish our values into our children and direct them to begin to take over the institutions. This seems like a laughable proposition, except that's exactly what the Marxists and feminists did. It took them about 150 years or so to accomplish it. We can do exactly the same thing.
But
in fact, we can probably do it in about 100 years.
So you think feminists and whatever Marxists, you think they did a good thing. So you want to do what they did. Got it. Because over here, we don't like feminism. We don't like communism. But you seem to be measuring it up.
What the Marxists and feminists did. It took them about 150 years or so to accomplish it. We can do exactly the same thing.
Why would you want to do exactly the same thing? That don't make no sense.
In fact, we can probably do it in about 100 years. Our job external to that is just to slow the progressive machine down any way we can until age claims its advocates. Obviously, I have a lot more to say on this topic, and as we get into the debate, just remember that theology informs culture, and culture informs politics.
Sure.
And with that, I'll cede the rest of my time over to Vaush, and hopefully we can get into this thing.
So basically, just every other Christian nationalist, their position. My version of Christianity should rule you all because I have the right version of Christianity. May I was going to say remind you, but that's not the right word. But may I let you in to a little known fact, not a little known fact, a very well known fact, that Andrew Wilson is an Orthodox Christian as of 2 years ago. He's born again 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So that is who our Christian nationalist authority here is. Shout out to Virgil Kane, all the way over from Manchester, England. Welcome. Let me get that heart on the video. Thank you. M169 said, this sounds too much like, well, blank would work if we did it. Yup. Shout out to Nick, Lou, Teddy. Welcome to the party. Nope. Basically, all you missed is this guy up in the corner is a Christian nationalist. That's about it. He wants to be like Nick Fuentes. He said feminism and Marxism took over. And it only took 150 years, and we can do exactly the same thing, and it might even only take 100.
What?
Yeah.
Cool. Vaush, you got 7 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
You can use as much of that as you want. Have at it, buddy.
Gotcha. Yeah, I noted absent of that opening from Andrew was either a description of what the problems are with modern society or how his proposed solutions would fix any of it. The problem that I have is that ultimately it feels like this is always a vibes thing, which is ironically very feminine and not at all a representation of patriarchal logic.
Imagine getting called a beta by Vaush. Oh!
The idea that there's something wrong with society and the best way to address it is to return with a V, just gesturing at, well, civilization lasted, ignoring the fact, of course, that Christian civilization and history has been a nonstop shit pit where countries obliterate each other, ethnic and ideological and linguistic and religious divide shift constantly, just nonstop war. I mean, if you want to point...
Yeah, I mean, in context, it's usually the born-agains that make Christianity massively cringe. It's also the newly militant atheists that make being secular cringe. It's always the extremes. It's always the fringes. It's always them.
Towards longevity of civilization. I mean, go look at China. You know, that's probably the best example we have of real longevity. Christianity, of course, not being a primary force in its stability, except for the extent to which it destabilized it in the 1800s. In truth, what makes a nation last or does not is A, complicated, and B, not of interest to Andrew. His interest in these subjects, patriarchy, blah, blah, fight progressivism, is for entirely separate reasons. In reality, the idea of preserving civilization is altogether kind of a psyop. It's not a real thing. Everything changes. No civilization is as it was 50 or 100 years ago. You can preserve names, I guess. You can point towards official longevity, but none of this really means anything. Well,
so right off the bat, I'm not liking what Andrew's saying, and Vaush hasn't said anything wrong. I'm very, very hesitant to praise Vaush in any way, but hey, I'm here to call it like it is. And so far, I mean, we're only a few minutes in, so things definitely will change. But so far, it's moving towards Vaush's side. Multi Media said, can anyone name a government party who were Christian nationalists? Maybe from a certain German time period? Yikes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is what M169 was saying just before. Which version? And, you know, obviously comes up. The Funkmaster General said, my sister's pastor asked how my relationship with Jesus is. I said, we have no beef. His response was fair enough. That is how you Christian. Dilly to your sister's pastor. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nail on the head. Nail on the head. No beef. Fair enough. That's how it should be. Well done. Well done to your sister's pastor.
I guess you can point towards official longevity, but none of this really means anything. What matters is, how do we build the best life possible for the greatest number of people? And I think, of course, the Libertarian Socialism proposes many excellent solutions when it comes to the problems we have with modern life.
Let's say, put a 1 in the chat if you think we are going to get a definition for what Libertarian Socialism even means to Vaush.
Religion does not. Religion...
Wait, I missed. What did you say?
Solutions. And I think, of course, the Libertarian Socialism proposes many excellent solutions when it comes to the problems we have with modern life. Religion does not.
That's a tall claim. Now, you may dislike the solutions, and you may not believe the divine nature of the solutions that are given in religion, but they definitely are there. They are definitely there.
Religion does not improve anything. It does not fix our problems. It does not make our cities more walkable. It does not address income inequality. It doesn't do anything except give people a feeling that there is meaning where there is none.
And that's an important thing. A feeling that there's meaning where there is none is a very, 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 very important thing. So that is very important. But it doesn't have to be religion.
I think we should construct our own meaning in a willful manner rather than ceding it entirely to imagined higher forces.
All right. Open. This is the open segment part, so you guys have at it.
Here we go.
Yeah, so Vaush, let's start with your religion doesn't improve anything. And yet, as we look at the happiness indexes of the people who are the most religious, they seem to be the most happy. They're also having the most children. They're also divorcing the least. They seem to, out of all the metrics, have the least amount of mental illness. How could you possibly, with a straight face, make the claim that religion doesn't improve anything?
So before we even go down this road again, because I'm not going to hit on this over and over and over and over, because there's plenty going to be between the two of them that we can hate on. But you could make that same exact argument for the transes. Listen to it again. If he was a trans activist,
Penis and
he
start
could
with
say exactly this.
your religion doesn't improve anything.
Well, trans doesn't improve anything.
And yet, as we look at the happiness indexes of the people who are the most religious, they seem to be the most happy.
Oh, well, the people who, the closer to transition they are, the more, it's not one-to-one. But point being is that you are starting from a conclusion and working backwards. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Good to see ya.
They're also having the most children. They're also divorcing the least. They seem to, out of all the metrics, have the least amount of mental illness. How could you possibly, with a straight face, make the claim that religion doesn't improve anything?
Because again, they would say, well, we're the happiest because you don't have children. We don't have any mental illness. It's just gender identity.
Your positions are material in nature, and they don't seem to work that well. They don't seem
right
to
off
answer
the
greater
bat,
questions.
Right off the bat, we see the analytical issues. First of all, tracking this onto the number of babies had. Historically, the most babies humans have been during pre-modern medieval periods where women were pumping out 11 kids, half them would die in the fields. The number of children you have has nothing to do with how happy you are. Likewise with divorces and marriages. Again, we would have to argue then that the happiest marriages must have necessarily been in the ones in, I don't know, England prior to Henry VIII. You would point back to some time where it was illegal to divorce. These aren't real metrics of happiness. People in general.
So what he's saying is like, yes, there are these correlations, but because they are merely correlations, you can't say that they have a causal factor. That's just not the way that it works. It's like, oh, no. How is revering the man in the sky not a mental issue? Exactly.
General are getting less happy. That is absolutely the case.
Yeah, but the religious seem to be less so via self-reporting, and the religious are having the most amount of children. And I have the stats here if you'd like to review them.
Shout out to Ronald McMahon in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Yeah, and Coulter. Oh, and Coulter. I did put out a video about that yesterday. Definitely go check that out if you didn't see it. But welcome. Welcome to the party, brother.
I can show this to you and demonstrate it to you. Pew Research has been following this very closely for a number of years, and their indexes seem to be quite good. And yet your materialist outlook seems to claim that libertarian socialism, materialism will save you. And yet we're closer to that worldview than ever. And yet mental illness and all of these factors which lead to unhappiness is higher than ever.
We've only
least of all with the religious.
Tracking. So first of all, as I established, birth rates are irrelevant to this discussion if we're talking about happiness. Second of all, mental illness as well. We've only started tracking mental illness in a meaningful way in the past couple of decades. So this is another factor which you can't reasonably tie to a lack of religiosity.
Past few decades is, you could say the past, generally he is right. Generally he is right that we don't have information about mental health before, 50 to 100 years ago. I don't know why he stays on screen. It would be so much better. I don't get why a lot of people do this actually, but with the full, window, like if I had my full window here and then there'd be somebody on the other side, there's all this empty space. Whereas when I do it like this and it smushes the two of us together, then you have like the thing on the top but I don't get it. Like, guys, are you professionals or what? Get off the screen. Symmetry. Sorry, that just set me off.
Last couple of decades. So this is another factor which you can't reasonably tie to a lack of religiosity. In fact, if you go to our insane asylums and people with severe mental illness issues, you'll find plenty of people there who are deeply religious. The idea that mental illness tracks perfectly onto, or even...
That's a fantastic point. That it's not the first time I've heard it, but I definitely haven't thought about it in a long time. You find a lot of religiosity in the worst places on Earth. Yeah, that too. But I mean, it's just it's too easy. It's too much of a hope to say that, oh, all the happiest people are this way, therefore you should be exactly like them. Otherwise, you will be unhappy. Maybe there's other things that you can do to be happy, except this one very specific thing. And if you really care about people getting to the outcome, the result that you want, then you should be looking at other ways of getting there. Instead of just saying, well, I got here on this road, and if you go any other road, then you're a bad person.
Remotely onto a lack of religiosity is just absolutely not the case.
Well, how can you make that claim? That actually makes no sense. You say birth rates can't be tied to happiness, and yet if you have children, you are happier. How
correlation does not mean causation.
I'm sorry. Wait.
How could you possibly say that birth rates wouldn't track onto that? Of course they would.
Do you think people were like at their happiest in India in like 1880 when the average number of children had by every mother was like 8 or 9 at the time?
Yeah,
during
but this is
no. I'm asking.
Yeah, this is a red herring.
It's not a red herring, bro. You are trying to make a causal connection between more children equals more happiness. He's giving you an example of more children and less happiness. That makes you wrong. Why am I here defending Vaush? I mean, it said there's also a lot of unhappy religious people. Yeah, it's too simplistic of a way to look at this thing. God good, everything else bad.
Has nothing to do with
wait,
anything.
answer the question. If you think
I have no idea. I
are,
don't think it's relevant. I have
okay,
no idea.
I think that birth rates do not track perfectly onto happiness. In fact, I don't think there's any
Yeah, but that
relationship
wasn't my
between
claim
them at all.
bro. That
you
really
made the
was not
claim
my
that
claim.
higher birth rates are indicative of greater happiness. And
That's what it sounded like to me.
No,
don't
my
think that's the
no. My claim, just so that you don't straw man it, is that
Okay.
women who have children seem to be happier than women who do not have children.
Okay, great. Yes, we understand that. So unless you are going to tie a causal thing to that, then it's just a thing that happens. Scientifically, it's just a thing that happens. Unless you have a causal factor, then it's just this happens and this happens. It's darker on the days that it rains. I didn't say the rain makes it dark. That's what you just said, bro. What are you talking about? Shout out to Garrett Grant. Welcome to the party. This is not an April Fool's stream. Somehow, Andrew Wilson's got me up here defending Vaush. It is insane. It is insane. But welcome to the party.
Okay.
Women who have children.
That's another fantastic point. I know a lot of moms who aren't happy. There's a whole page on TikTok that I mean, I don't follow it, but you know, the For You page is, it's a whole thing. But the TikTok page, and the entire thing is this woman reading letters from regretful parents. So we have of all ages. I mean, usually not that old, but you have parents of newborns, parents of toddlers, parents of middle school, whatever, writing in about how they were supposed. Everybody told them that when they had children, that this love would just boil up inside of them and overflow, and this, that, and the other. And I think it does for by and large. But the fact is, just like Multi Media is saying, for a lot of women, it doesn't. So that's what Vaush is trying to show you, is that just because a lot of the women who have children are happier than a lot of the women who don't have children, that is not a causal factor. Not a causal factor.
No. My claim, just so that you don't straw man it, is that
Okay.
women who have children seem to be happier than women who do not have children. When you look at the birth rate, of course, that's going to map onto that, as women are the ones who have the children. So obviously, if they're happier, they're going to have more children. And as mothers,
Why is that obvious? Why is that obvious? You have not connected those two except for a corollary connection.
so obviously, if they're happier, they're going to have more children. And as mothers, they're going to have more children. At least this is what the Pew research shows.
Do you think there might be a confounding variable there? Like maybe the economic stability, which allows people to have children, might make people, happier?
Now, again, I am with the notion that people are happier when they have children because they have a greater purpose. And a lot of people don't do a good job at finding that larger purpose outside of their job. And unless you are in a job which will fulfill you that way, then I agree. You should probably orient your life towards having children eventually at some point. That is the tried and true tested method to make sure that you have a fulfilled life. That doesn't mean that it's an automatic thing. And he's trying to play it like that when he doesn't need to, because it is such a strong correlation. It's a very, very, very strong correlation. But it's not a causal factor. It says more children means more money just to have the same amount of anything. So if you want people to have more children, then make it easier to earn more money. Just a thought. True. Yep.
Children might make people happier.
Yeah. So again, it doesn't have to be specifically that it's financial stability, but that there could be something else that allows people to be happy and have children. That's what the question is. Quantic says a man who became happier after he had a child. I will also say there are many factors to someone's happiness. I had no prospects in life while having a child. I'm sure I would be miserable. So yeah, again, and so even though I think all of us here, I mean, you can tell me if you disagree, but I think all of us here generally believe that people become happier once they have children. That being true isn't a fact on which you can build this ideology that he's trying to build, and it certainly doesn't lead to Christian nationalism. Yeah, right. Like Zivi is saying, Islam is a great religion to keep you happy. Yeah, according to who? According to who? Mel said, don't make it easier to make money. Make the money we have now more worth more. There you go. There you go. Stop printing the money. Stop giving it to Israel and Ukraine and all that shit.
Might make people, happier.
Then why are the poorest people having the most of them?
Because poorer people sometimes are happier, and sometimes they have more children. Or
And what would
maybe,
make
as
a
my
poorer
as for my
person
argument,
happier?
maybe there isn't a strong relationship between how many children you're
Right.
having. And how happy
So
you are.
what would make poorer people happier than people with all of this materialism? That's really weird, Vaush.
I didn't say that. I was indicating that I think this is an argument in favor of my point. I just don't think these two statistics track onto each other very well. And I don't think you do either, frankly. I think that the reality that when we talk about like what makes people unhappy or what problems we can solve socially, the actual like fabric of a person's mental wellness is so complicated and so multivariate that I would immediately distrust anyone who tried to reduce it to a single variable. I'm more interested
There you go. There you go. That's a super heady, overly intellectualized way to say, where is it? What Guamtech said, that there are many factors to somebody's happiness. To try to reduce it to a single variable is just silly. It's not kids equals happy or no kids equals unhappy. It's the same exact thing as God equals good or no God equals bad. You said, why would a rich person be sad if there's no God? Good question. Sibi said, is your mom only happy when she has total control of everything? That's a little out of left field, but you should ask her that. I don't know.
We're not hang on. We're not reducing anything to a single variable. That's one. Okay. Nobody said the issue is not multifaceted. However, for you to make kind of this bold claim and gloss it over when you're pinned down on the fact that the people who are the poorest, they seem to be the happiest, at least that's what your claim just was a second ago.
I don't think that's what it was, bro. I don't think you said what you think you said.
Okay. Nobody said the issue is not multifaceted. However,
and again, you didn't say that outright, but we were, higher birth rates.
For you to make kind of this bold claim and gloss it over when you're pinned down on the fact that the people who are the poorest, they seem to be the happiest, at least that's what your claim just was a second ago.
Yeah. See, the should be normal delay. But he's the one who was trying to get pinned down on this thing about birth rates. So I guess we gotta call that projection. So all right. So I'm gonna say now and hit the thing at the same time. 3, 2, 1, now. So that's whatever that is. That's the delay.
The happiest, at least that's what your claim just was a second ago.
No,
so if that's true, then obviously it must be something other than materialism, which is causing them to be happier. What would you say that is, Vaush?
But again, you don't have to have an answer to that question to say that it is not Christianity. God of the gaps. God of the gaps. I don't know, so therefore it must be God. These poor people have children because social aid pays lots of money. That's not the only reason. There's a lot that goes behind the fact that poor people just don't have a lot else to do. Shit costs money. So fucking is free. It really comes down to that by a lot. And you see that all across the world. All across the world.
Must be something other than materialism, which is causing them to be happier. What would you say that is, Vaush?
I didn't make that claim. I said that there are plenty of I said maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's this as ways of indicating that I don't feel there's a strong track between birth rates and happiness.
So that's Vaush pinning Andrew down on his point about birth rates and how important that is for happiness. That was his claim.
Birth rates are higher in many parts of the world that are a lot poorer and less happy than the United States. In the United States, it is absolutely the case that poor people tend to have more children. There's also a racial or ethnic element to that as well. But this isn't a perfect one-to-one track. For instance, rural areas where the cities are drying up and dying, there are people who have lots of kids, sure, but they're not happy. I mean, we make, I guess, sort of reductive comments about white trash families, and I don't think that's fair. But it is certainly the case that, there are plenty of households out there where you have both many children and not a lot of happiness.
I mean, shout out to Vaush for calling out the anti-white racism. That is one on the bingo card that I did not expect. I mean, true, it doesn't help as much with the rising prices, but there's a lot of money going into social aid. There is a lot of money. I agree that we shouldn't make it easier for people who don't deserve that money to get that money. I think that it would be a better path to try to see if there are alternatives where money can be spent to help people get on their own feet instead of just putting the money in their hands. But that's a whole other discussion.
It is certainly the case that, there are plenty of households out there where you have both many children and not a lot of happiness.
Well, then this is another problem with the materialist worldview. Vaush, when you make this kind of bold claim, don't you think that economics really has a lot to do with whether or not people are having children? And then you cite that the poorest people are having the most amount of children, right? This is a very strange argument from you. So
You're welcome. Anybody who has OCD, I'm trying to get this perfectly fitted.
hoping that you can qualify this and make this make sense to me.
I don't think anything that I said there doesn't make sense. The characteristics that might lead a person to have a lot of children are incredibly complicated. I mean, if you want a full rundown, it correlates more often to people who are poorer, I imagine, because people who are poorer often have a harder time with regards to family planning and management. They also have less strict life plans when it comes to their own career.
They're also more
that one. That's kind of bigotry of low expectation. Well, poor people don't really know what a condom is, but the other one, yep,
religious.
Right? Garrett's like, damn, I gotta agree with Vaush too. Like, what's going on here? But that's cool. That's cool because we're here to call it like it is. And this doesn't mean that Vaush is some great person. All this means is that this Andrew dude ain't shit.
Sometimes, but
most of the time.
But they're not the happiest. In fact, there's a very
wait, what was the question?
Life can have a harder own career.
They're also more religious.
Sometimes, but
most of the time.
But they're not the happiest. In fact, there's a very large degree of opioid addiction and unhappiness in highly religious rural communities with lots of children. So it's almost like your attempt to reduce these variables to some kind of simple correlative line doesn't actually work when you look at the material reality.
Okay, well, first of all,
it's like you're working backwards from, oh, Christianity must be the answer. How do I make that fit? Now, Vaush is doing the exact same thing from the other side, that libertarian socialism is the right way to go. How do we fit that? He's just better at talking. That's all it is.
Well, first of all, backing up, you and I have both agreed already that it's multifaceted, right? I'll agree that that's true, but that doesn't mean that some variables aren't far more important than others, which is why you cited an economic variable to begin with. Moving into this, when you're talking about this portion of the topic, which is birth rates, which have become absolutely disastrous everywhere, not just in the West, but globally. This was all due to anti-natalist campaigning from leftists.
What's disastrous about our birth rates?
They're in free fall collapse, Vaush.
Yeah, they've lowered, as they have in every industrialized country. Sure.
No, in all countries. Almost all countries everywhere, with the exception of a few African nations and Middle Eastern nations, and those are dropping off quickly too.
Yes, industrialized countries produce fewer children because you no longer need 8 little tykes to run the farm, of course.
Well, no, that's not the only reason that we have a collapse in birth rate. It's because women are getting married older instead of younger.
We also have IVF, stuff like that. I mean, it does, again, the things that you're saying are not untrue. They just aren't carrying the argument that you're trying to make. They're just kind of, yes, the fact that women get married older does happen. But if you think that is a driving factor in why the birth rates have gone down, and that Christianity is the way to fix that, and the only way to fix that, or let me rephrase that Christian nationalism is the way to fix that, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, not to mention we had a worldwide pandemic right around the time that you found out about all this Jesus stuff, Andrew.
Now, you could make the argument.
Education.
Well, you could make the argument that this is due to, better family planning or something like this, I suppose. But
Really? Is this real? Of course. They all do. They all do. Why? Why is it that all these dudes who get online and have to talk about women and dating and being an alpha and this, they all do this either the single mom or with Walter Weeks and the escort? What is wrong with these people?
Still, ultimately, if you want to keep your population high, thus keeping your economy good in all nations on planet Earth, you can't just shift around people who don't exist because the birth rate's lower everywhere.
Our
How do you
populations
plan?
are still growing.
No, well, no, they're actually plateauing.
No, the population's not growing. Okay. Oh, problem solved, guys. I thought we had a huge issue where the Earth was going to reach like 10 billion people and we weren't going to have enough resources. But he said, nope, not anymore. Not anymore.
Plateauing quickly. And the last UN report showed that, but the most modern UN report on population demographics, which I have in front of me, show that it's much more catastrophic than the UN previously predicted, citing that China, and this came in from a study from, sorry, it's on Forbes. I can link
China's
it over
situation
to you.
is specific to the one child policy. I think that was very dumb of the CCP.
But also kind of anomalous to what we're talking about. Like if you're specifically having a government policy that says don't have children, that's obviously going to affect the birth rate differently than just people's natural organic behavior. Come on. So I'm gonna hit the end. I'm gonna end this poll here. Vaush got 53% of 50% of the vote. But you know, most of you didn't know who both were. But by the end, we're gonna do the same poll again. I'm very, very curious who you guys think is the worst by the end of this.
Yeah,
I'm talking about here in the
West.
But
a 500. They're talking about a 500 million reduction in the Chinese population potentially by 2050, 2060. That's right around the corner. Okay. That's a massive population reduction. Japan, within 200 years, is actually slated to not exist. It's slated to not exist due to the population.
He's actually pretty active in the chat. But again, that's why I don't understand why he's just sitting there. And then remind me when he picks up his phone. If you guys don't point it out and see it, then I definitely will.
So is the world population growing or decreasing right now?
Right now it's plateauing.
The world population, as I understand it, is still growing at a decent clip.
I mean,
it's going from 6 billion to 8 billion. Sure, that's fine. We have a finite
and then it free
space.
falls. And then it's projected to free fall by every UN analyst and by every scientific metric that you can possibly look at who has looked at this. It's expected to free fall and possibly stabilize at 6 billion.
I was going to pull up, so, I was going to stop this to pull this up, but they do a pretty good job of hey, Vaush the lefty, he's going to be pulling, well, this study says this is this study. So they do a pretty good job of that.
In the next.
Hey, a shout out to Abinox, welcome, or Abe Knox. So I'm going to go with Abinox, I think. I'm bad with names. I apologize. Welcome to the party. Said to Garrett, dating or not dating single moms is not a moral stance. It's a don't be surprised if you get burned if you play with fire. Well said, and welcome to the party.
At this, it's expected to free fall and possibly stabilize at 6 billion in the next 150 years to 200 years. But the estimates.
What UN analyst? Yeah, I'd like to see that. Also,
So Mazamai Media said yes, the world is transitioning into a natural population decline, meaning the number of deaths is greater than the number of live births. In 2021, the global total fertility rate, or TFR, was 2.3, down from. I'm sure we'll get the rest of that momentarily. Shout out to Brad C over on X, Twix, whatever we call it. Welcome. Said, I just hate kids. They usually don't smell too well. That's probably more of a reflection of the parents, though. That is very, very true. Welcome, Brad. So yeah, the TFR was 2.3. Been going down for 3 years now. So the so that does show a plateauing, but this free fall and collapse. Again, this is why I don't want to watch too much of this stuff before I show it to you guys. But these are the numbers. So for whatever the rate, 2.3, and been going down for 3 years. Oh, that came out. So for 2.3 down and 5.3 in 1963. This decline has occurred in every region of the world. The UN predicts that the global population will level out around 2086. So these are the numbers. This is what we want to. So I'm gonna actually star these, and when they bring that up, we'll see if his point actually follows by these facts.
So, assuming that's the case, okay. I mean, it can't grow forever. Like, let's just say, let's presume that information is accurate. If that seems fine. I mean, what should we have? 10, 12, 15?
Well, so
billion?
here's why this is problematic,
10 billion people.
Vaush, because the population bomb, which was a book that was dropped all over the African nations and India in order to reduce the populations of those nations significantly, it turns out that was very problematic because, as it turns out, the more people you have, the more work gets done and the more people get fed. Right now, due to the increase in population, there's more global food production, the ability to deliver this food globally to people who need it than there ever has been in human history. That's what happens with pro-natalist policies versus anti-natalist policies.
Okay, wait.
So that's the only factor. Whether there's people born or not, it has nothing to do with culture. It has nothing to do with the laws. It has nothing to do with resources. It has nothing to do with types of government. It just has to do with how many heads are there. How many heads are there on the earth? If there's lots of heads, then things will be good. If there's less heads, things will be bad. This is how a moron thinks. So do I. I said, shit. Me too.
You just answered what population do you think it should stop at? So, okay, it might stop at 6 billion. What meaningfully is the difference?
Oh, I think that the
6 or
Earth could...
7?
The Earth can easily, according to analysis, have up to 25, 30 billion people with pretty, it's pretty regular ease.
Is that?
Oh, hell no.
I live in a suburb of New Jersey, which is the most densely populated state of the nation. And even in the suburbs, there's too many fucking people. You want what? Six times as many people? I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Within that confines of those numbers.
Ideal? How is that better than what we have?
Because more people equals more work, less starvation. Less starvation for
again, I don't think it's that simple, bro. What are the other we already have the world, right? Certainly, there's the more people, there's more stuff, there's more needs, but resources are finite. If there's 30 billion, yeah, like what are we talking about? It's not like you could just go live in Antarctica or at the North Pole or whatever. There's already people here. There's already issues with China buying up all the property and housing prices going through the roof. And you want 30 billion people on the earth? They only allowed one. Oh my God. Oh my God. And it's just like, I'm trying to, like, what is it? If I didn't know that his home base is Christianity good, I would be so confused as to what he is even trying to prove right now. What are you even trying to say? We only have 8 billion people. We need 30 billion people. Seems like the more mouths to feed, the more work that needs to be done. Now, obviously, you scale things up. But still, what do you, I mean, I have never, ever heard this line of argumentation in any context before. Context says, to be fair, population density is mostly bad because we aren't spread out enough. There's a lot of land that isn't being used. Granted, we need to fix a lot to make that land habitable. Yeah, so you want to take all the people in Newark and San Diego and Chicago, and you want to put them in the nice, untouched areas of this country that are in Wyoming and wherever else. Yeah, we got that space, but that space is being used by other stuff. The farmlands. You can't just put people in places. Can we deal with more people? Obviously, we are not at the max capacity of the world. But 30 billion?
What? Come on, man.
It's okay. At 25 billion, we will be eating the bugs and living in the pods. You're not making the best arguments here.
Because more people equals more work, less starvation. Less starvation for populations, more work for infrastructure building, more work for, I mean, even look
Yeah,
at the
but
U.S. labor
fewer-
force now. One of the
But
biggest
fewer
problems.
people to cater to. This is very, very silly. The idea that everything gets better the more people are on Earth, it's just not the case. First of all, like people, the number of humans that are going to end up on the planet and like sort of plateau out at, that's not the same as our maximum carrying capacity. You don't want to hit the maximum carrying capacity for the same
We're
reason.
nowhere
that
near it.
Yeah, I'm saying you
It's not
don't
a
want
problem.
to. And the reason for that is the same reason you don't want to hit the maximum carrying capacity of an elevator or a restaurant. You know,
Yeah,
maximum.
but we don't even know what the
ideal.
maximum carrying capacity is, but we do know
I
we're
just-
Then how can you say that 25 to 30 billion is ideal? How can you make that assumption, assertion? If you don't know what the maximum is, how do you know what the ideal is? If the maximum is 10 billion, then surely 30 billion is not the maximum carrying capacity. And if more people is automatically better and the maximum capacity is 300 billion, then it seems like 40 billion might be better than 30 billion according to your logic.
Stupid.
elevator or a restaurant, you know, maximum.
yeah, but we don't even know what the
ideal.
maximum carrying capacity is, but we
I-
do know
I
we're
just-
nowhere near it.
I
And
just
we're also
don't
declining.
understand what the issue is with these broader trends.
That's it.
Well, I just
if-
explained it to you. You don't want populations in free fall collapse. You
No,
don't even
you
have
don't
enough
want-
hands to do the work.
So now that's the second time he said free fall collapse. Just taking notes.
What do
Well,
you mean?
there will-
You don't
so
have that now in the United States.
The amount of work, first of all, we get plenty of work done in this country. And second of all, the idea that sure, you have less people doing work, but you also have less people for whom to do the work.
Yup.
Like the idea that you would be doing the same amount of labor if there were 30 billion people on Earth as you have to now with 8 billion people on Earth.
No,
is
man.
not
No,
the
no, no.
case.
Labor is scalable. You need to understand labor
Okay,
is
so
scalable.
I don't
So
think
like
it's
when you combine
reasonable.
two people together to do a job, it doesn't get done twice as fast. It gets done 4 or 5 times as fast.
That's highly reductive and not the case for all things. There are
But at a certain point, then there would be so many people that there wouldn't be enough stuff to do because a small group of people could do all of the stuff. Sounds like communism to me. Sounds like communism to me. Zippy said, I'm confused. How can a Christian be a communist? Exactly. I don't know. I don't know because he's confused. He's confused and he's angry. He's angry that whatever life he was living 2 years ago is not it was a lie, and he's found the truth of Jesus Christ, and now he is gonna go all over the internet and tell everybody who's been in their ideology and studying and updating them and talking about it day to day for years. He's gonna come in and tell them, well, obviously you're stupid because more people equals more food.
What? Stupid.
Funkmaster General said, more people, more work, less space. Sure, it will be fine. Nobody will fight. Nobody, right? It's not like cities are way more dangerous and violent than anywhere else in the country, right? Yeah, we'll be fine. I mean, I said, what about when we have AI doing all the work? What are 30 billion people gonna do? Nothing. And eat those crickets. Eat those crickets.
As fast. It gets done 4 or 5 times as
That's
fast.
highly reductive and not the case for all things. There are plenty of things like regional economic limits or non-scalability or lacking in land area or climate change changing the available land.
Give me
or
a
No,
type
no.
of job or
There's-
occupation where
there's
that
not-
Okay, I may disagree, but he just gave you 3, bro. He just gave you 3, if not 4.
Plenty of things like regional economic limits or non-scalability or lacking in land area or climate change changing the available land.
Give me
That's 5. He gave you 5 examples. Again, I'm not even judging on the validity of those examples for the case, but he gave you 5 examples, and he said, give me one example.
Stupid.
I think I might wear out the stupid button tonight.
give me a
No,
type
no.
of job or
There's-
occupation where
there's
that's
not-
true of.
There's not any, I don't have to provide any argument here because the premise I'm arguing against is nonsensical. Let me construct an
So you have no
ideology.
argument.
Well, you have to provide an idea first.
I did.
And the
Ooh.
idea you're providing is, what if we had an ideology that made everyone have as much babies as possible? But you need to sell me on this being a good idea because
Right.
I don't
Right.
care. Like, I'm not sold on this. I want people who are alive to be happy. I want the human species to do well. I think that the human species did pretty well at 6 billion. I'm sure it would do pretty well at 8 or 10 or whatever.
Yeah, Zippy saying, well, if the state reined in education to teach critical thinking and work ethic, more people would work. And I'm not, I don't think anybody is disagreeing with that. I think it's damn near inevitable that population is going to continue to increase for at least the near future. Until all the transes, realize, oh, whoopsie, we messed up. But anyway, yes, more people is one thing. 30 billion people is a very different thing. That's a very, very different thing. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. What if there are no jobs to work for? If you have a job that takes 10 units of time to get done, and you get 40 people to do it, and now it's done in 1 unit of time, now you can do 40 times as much work, and there's no work to be done. And if there's no work to be done, then there's no money to be made. And if there's no money to be made, then there's no food to be eaten. And if there's no food to be eaten, you get the bugs.
Species did pretty well at 6 billion. I'm sure it would do pretty well at 8 or 10 or whatever. But the idea of orienting all of my political beliefs around hitting some kind of maximum.
So I'll try a different angle for you then, if that's your approach.
All right. So our first 20 minutes was a big fail for Andrew the Crucible.
You do agree that you do want some people on planet Earth, right?
No, he just said we worked well at 6, but and probably would do well at 8. But no, he doesn't want anybody on the Earth.
What? That's your approach. You do agree that you do want some people on planet Earth, right? At least some number of them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I want human
so
civilization.
What number would that be from your perspective?
I don't care. That's the thing. That
exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's Andrew's arguing like, well, your number's worse and my number's better. Well, I was just like, what? I didn't give you a number. I don't fucking know.
And
well, then what's the argument here? So we both want people.
We both want people. The argument is that you have created a need for me to have a number of ideal persons when I don't think that that is relevant to anything. What does that have to do with Christian nationalism versus libertarian socialism or whatever the fuck it is?
Well, and if the birth rate reduces so a population collapses and there's no people, that bad.
You have to explain to me how
He really just did it. He said, that bad. That bad. He really just said
reduces so a population collapses and there's no people, that bad.
That bad. That bad. That's not good. Big number equal good. Small number equal bad. Work only scales. That's a good point too. Work only scales as well as the government allows it to. Do you think that we only have 5 media companies because there's only 5 people who want to be in media? Of course not.
If the birth rate reduces so a population collapses and there's no people, that bad.
You have to explain to me how shifting our entire political mindset to accommodate some arbitrary goal that you've just made up in front of me is necessary at all. I think that if we build,
it can't be arbitrary if you agree we need humanity.
If we the end is still.
We need humanity. Therefore, we need 30 billion humans. What? That's not how that works, homie. Sorry. That's what he just said.
I think that if we
it
build,
can't be arbitrary if you agree we need humanity.
If we the end is still
the gap really quick. So
really quickly, I just want to ask, I just want to put forward the point here really quickly. Okay, I think that we should build good political systems that make people happy and encourage growth and economic stability and all those wonderful things. I do not think we need to orient everything about some kind of psychotic pro-natalist perspective where we try to keep women out of colleges and in the home so every single one of them has 7 children. I don't think that's
nope. And just to put it out there, I agree. I mean, we had to pick. Definitely keep going. I don't know, but I don't want that either.
Okay, first of all, all you're doing there is framing. I never made the argument.
Big red flag. When somebody doesn't know how to respect either the but somebody doesn't know how to respect the host of the channel, the platform, whatever it is, that is a big red flag. All this talk about high value men. Other people are watching you, the owner of the channel. The moderator of the discussion saying, hold on, using his hands, and you seeing that, hearing that, and continuing to talk. Who is you? Who is you?
All you're doing there is framing. I never made.
Yeah, exactly. Why not 50 million?
Made the argument that women must do anything. What I told you is that we have a birth rate that's in free fall. You agree that we need to at least have some humanity.
You just said it was plateauing. He said it was plateauing. And did I miss that?
Anything. What I told you is that we have a birth rate that's in free fall. You agree that we need to at least have some humanity.
You said it was plateauing. How is that free fall?
Which means you have to at least replace the people who are in existence. So you and I can at least agree that every human being should probably have at least one other human being to replace them, right? Or if not, there needs to be some number of humans on planet Earth. So if that's true, and you and I agree that that's true, then having a declining birth rate, that would be catastrophic for both of our worldviews.
If it level,
I want to know who put it in this guy's head that birth rate was such a huge factor, as if when there's less people, we can orient things to, like, let's just say there was 5 people on the entire Earth. I think communism would do fantastic in that case. 5 billion? Nah. We're going to need multiple governments. We're going to need multiple things. I don't even know who he could have been talking to that would have made this stick so heavily in his mind. Birth rate, birth rate, birth rate, birth rate. Like, what are you saying? And like, again, shout out to Vaush being very good at staying in the pocket of, like, why are you bringing this up? What are you trying to say? And I'm sure there's a solid point in there somewhere, but Andrew can't get to it. Nick said 2 billion people is supposed to be the world population on it, where there will be people starving. There have been starving people ever since we hit that number. You know, it's and that's, in case you guys didn't know, 2 billion is a lower number than 30 billion. Bro thinks for the -5. Yeah, right. I mean, they are, and just as I have to say, I'm gonna call you Abe. Is that okay? Because I don't know if it's Abe. I'm gonna call you Abe. Abe says birth rates are very important to avoid death waves. I mean, I think you mean specifically. Absolutely. Again, nobody is saying that the birth rate is not an issue, but the conversation is Christian nationalism versus libertarian socialism, and somehow for 21 and a half minutes, we've been talking about, are there enough babies being born? And I just don't understand why. I just do not understand why.
Then having a declining birth rate, that would be catastrophic for both of our worldviews.
if it leveled out at 6 billion,
Stop. I'm going to step in for 1 second and just kind of bridge the gap a little bit. So
Use the mute button, bro.
you guys both agree that there needs to be humans on Earth. But the difference is that Vaush is saying, hey, I don't understand why it's important for us to increase the amount of people that we have on the planet now. Andrew's saying, hey, I think that would actually be better. So that's what Vaush is asking.
The problem,
Some of them might even say Japan is the country with the lowest birth rate at 1.3. That's not even the lowest, which was 1.26 in 2005. There is no way the world birth rate is in free fall. Brad said, any single atheist women out there? I just realized I need to repopulate. Nah, bro, I get first crack. And I go, actually, you know what? You can take the atheist women. I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
Andrew's saying, hey, I think that would actually be better. So that's what Vaush is asking.
The problem, that's actually incorrect. So
that's a question. What do you mean it's incorrect? We're asking you a question. He said, no, that's incorrect. Whose man's is this?
Be better. So that's what Vaush is asking.
The problem, that's actually incorrect. So what I'm saying to you is that the amount of people who are on planet Earth right now are slated to significantly decrease down to maybe half or below what the current status is right now. Okay, well, I've just linked the article over to China's population right here.
What about world population?
This is the projection. Now,
so this is what I was talking about. They're going to go through it. I don't know how much they're actually going to show, but good, because I don't need to dive into a whole bunch of numbers. We're just going to take some of the relevant stuff, which is why we didn't need to take the time to go searching for it. Thank you, Vaush, Andrew, and Alex.
World population, the UN projection was at 6 billion. However, the trend is very, very quickly going the other direction. I can send you an article on this as well.
Telling as the world.
So they're saying that it could be reduced to as little as 3.5 billion to 4 billion. They don't know.
These are speculative numbers that don't actually tie in with like the broader consensus. Look,
well, what's not speculative though is the number of, or what the birth rate is at for the percentage of the population.
Invariably, no matter what point you hit, you will hit periods of general like population decline, because it's not possible to perpetually maintain growth or stagnation.
Right. And so Gontex and they both need to move on to this point from the debate. This is precisely why I picked this debate. Specifically why? Because it's important to know when you're at this point, when you're getting caught up, and we're like, all right, we're just looping. We're just going in circles. We're not let's agree to disagree or move on to the next point or whatever it is. That is a very important part of being able to convince people, being able to have people listen to what you're saying, all that kind of stuff. So even though they don't, I think there's a lot to be learned about if you're going to go in the weeds and you're going to go that far. Because I'm one of those people that y'all might need to be in the chat telling me exactly this. Because I'd be right with them going down into the weeds. And sometimes those conversations can be interesting, and sometimes they're not. But they are going to, talk some numbers, and then they are moving on, talking about Smash Martian. Nothing My Media said this man thinks 4 billion people are going to die in the next 10 years. Christianity blows your brain. I don't know what to tell you.
Because it's not possible to perpetually maintain growth or stagnation.
Right.
There will be waves up and down. This is inevitable. I think
flux.
That what's the problem here is that this is all fake policy. There is no such thing as like global pronatalism or antinatalism. You said earlier the left does antinatalism. This is nonsense.
Let me give you an example.
People have children and are able to have children in line with the material circumstances they live in. Are they educated? Do they have the money? Do they have the space in their household? Are there cultural values that incline them towards having more children or not? These are the things that we can do and control. Now, if we're to have a discussion on what we should promote, here's something I think we could do. Okay.
No. Let me respond to these 2 points because both are inaccurate. The first one is the 2 points that you smuggled in. The first point that you smuggled in was that people can only have children based on material conditions. Not true. They have children outside of the scope of their material conditions all the time. And that's why you see some of the poorest nations in the world breeding.
What do you mean outside of their what? Hold on. Give me 1 second here. 1 second. He said,
first one is the 2 points that you smuggled in. The first point that you smuggled in was that people can only have children based on material conditions.
People can only have children based on material conditions. Did he say that? Number 2, what does that even mean?
Not true.
What does that mean? People can only have children based on the material conditions. I have zero clue what that means. I have no idea. Garrett said, it's even weirder considering all of the medical advances that have generally helped people live longer. But yeah, free fall collapse.
They have children outside of the scope of their material conditions all the time.
Oh, okay. I think the scope of material conditions, meaning if you have the money, then you'll have, yeah, okay, got it. Took me a second, took me a while, but I found it. And so that's not at all what Vaush said. He was the one who brought up that poor people have a lot of children.
Material conditions.
I cannot believe I am writing this hard for Vaush.
True. They have children outside of the scope of their material conditions all the time.
Hey, shout out to Barton's RVing in the building. Welcome to the party. Now they're awesome YouTuber. Let me grab your what is it? Barton's RV. Gotta be honest, not exactly my cup of tea, but if it is, you guys should definitely go check him out. Welcome to the party, Barton.
On material conditions, not true. They have children outside of the scope of their material conditions all the time. And that's why you see some of the poorest nations in the world breeding more than any other nation.
Right. That was Vaush's point when he brought up India and how they would have like 11 kids and all that stuff.
So this is first of all, this is patently false. Hang on, let me finish. I just let you give your argument. Let me give mine back.
You just described those are the material conditions. Material conditions doesn't mean if you're rich enough. It means that the circumstances that surround you give you the ability and inclination to do something. Poverty inclines people towards having lots of children. That is a material condition.
Man, okay, fine. Even if I
so that's okay. That's kind of what I thought. So when I'm saying material conditions, I'm thinking the money. And so he didn't say that, but he did say like the just the when he says material conditions, he just means the condition in which the materials around you are in. Literally that.
I grant this. Okay. This kind of second thing, which you smuggled in, is that the left has no anti-natalist policy, but they do. They're by far the largest advocates of abortion.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Nick. Guys, if you do send me a Rumble rant or a PayPal or a Venmo or anything other than a super chat that's going to pop up here, do put something in the chat. It's not like nagging me or anything. Sometimes the notifications don't come in, and I want to make sure you get your due. So if you send me a Venmo or whatever, or a Cash App, just like, hey, check your Cash App. And it also gives me something to remember to thank you at the end of the show. Thank you for the reminder, Nick.
the kind of second thing which you smuggled in is that the left has no anti-natalist policy, but they do. They're the by far the largest advocates of abortion everywhere on planet Earth. That's a left-wing socialist policy for sure.
Right. And how is that relevant to the conversation? See, this is why you need to not just know facts and talking points, but you have to understand how they apply practically to real life.
Even back to its roots, it was a socialist policy. There's no doubt that that's true. They're the ones who dropped the population bomb all over planet Earth via helicopter in order to get people to stop breeding. Yes, they have had significant anti-natalist policies. It's absurd to say otherwise.
I mean, I do agree with that, but again, not really super connected to what we're talking about, but maybe he'll tie it in. For instance, I think education has something to do with having a bunch of kids. Yeah, we are definitely talking about how, you know, the understanding of just being able, not just, you know, sex ed itself, but the ability to think far enough ahead about yourself and about your future to make the right types of decisions. That all has to do with education.
So you're saying that giving people the choice as to whether or not they want to have children, it leads to a decrease in how many children people have?
Well, again, this is a smuggled in premise.
You're not
giving them the choice. You're saying you can't kill your offspring. There's a distinction to be made.
The legality of abortion is giving people the choice to have or to not have children. It leaves out the possibility of accidentally having children.
This is your bad world.
No, please.
Yeah, see now, okay, now Andrew's got to be like, oh, thank goodness. Because of course you wouldn't say thank God, but like now I know that I can at least say something half intelligible about abortion.
You're making the assumption it's not murder.
Stop complaining that literally anything that doesn't immediately like pre-pack your framing into it is some kind of biased question. Okay,
well, then don't complain immediately that I accept your framing as being true.
My framing is that if people have the option to abort a fetus, that they will have less children. I think that people should want to have the children they have. So I want to build a society in which maybe people have more children, but they're amped about it. And what that means is supporting material policies, like, for example, free childcare, or better tax credits, or legal mandates for corporations to provide maternity and paternity leave.
Well, let's go with option 2. I'm down with the child credits, the tax credits. I don't know about throwing money at people who have kids, but I'm with it. That's based. I want people to be not only having more children, but to be happy about having children. Go Vaush, I guess. Shout out to Steve. Welcome to the party. So China abolished its one-child policy and raised it to 2. And the Chinese people rejected it and kept it to 1 child. It's culture. Yeah, wow. I did not know that. That is a very strong anecdote about you know how strong culture is. You know, because obviously they implemented this. I don't know if I remember exactly why. Why did the CCP implement the one-child policy? Oh, the AI overview. All right, AI. The Chinese government implemented the one-child policy in the late 1970s and 80s to reduce growth rate of its population, which was nearly 1 billion. Oh, so it just had... Okay, I wasn't sure if it was specifically just like, oh, we're spending too much money, or if you know, there was something else. But yeah, so that was only what, 30, 40 years ago? And now they're like, nah, F that. We good with we good with the only child. We good. Hold on a second. Andrews, tomatoes are a fruit. Hold on a second. Yes, and tomatoes don't go in fruit salad. Pretty much. As much as I hate to give Vaush points, exactly. We gotta. When you're right, you're right. And I am surely not what are they? Not a sophist. Is that what the word is? We're talking about sophistry? Whatever it is, I'm not engaging in sophistry. If a dumbass is right, the dumbass, pedo, is right. I mean, sorry, Andrew, you're losing to a lolly guy. Barton said tax credits for kids, but I think you need limits. Yeah, definitely. Whenever we're talking about giving government money to people, whether it's credits or it's the same thing, whether not taking money or giving people money, it's effectively the same thing. And so that definitely would need to be litigated to what is the limit? How, can you just have 1 million kids and then not pay taxes ever again? is that something that would be a reasonable thing? You know, the more kids, the better, and so on and so forth. Or is it, you know, the first 3 kids you get this much, or then the 4th kid, whatever it is, definitely needs limits. But way better than free childcare. I mean, government childcare, because the public schools are just doing fantastic right now, right? Come on. It's like, it was like, what are you, reasonable?
How dare
Disgusting. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Shout out to Insight of the Ages. Welcome to the party. Said, did you hear? The U.S. can't go into bankruptcy. We can just print our own money. Our leaders think we can be paid in toilet paper and tell us it's gold. We should abolish taxes in a country where you can just print money. I'm with it. Welcome to the party.
Or legal mandates for corporations to provide maternity and paternity leave. Those are examples of things that socialists tend to support and would massively increase the viability of having children, even in an industrialized country.
Yeah, that's why, again, the tax credits, great. Free childcare means government childcare, and that turns into programming.
That's real
And
politics.
if that's true, then how come in the nations where these things are implemented, you have not seen the birth rate make a recovery, Vaush?
Well, I think that there's more to it than that.
Exactly. It's almost like there's more to life than things are good, more babies. Things are bad, less babies.
So then why are you giving me policies that don't work? I don't care.
They do.
Give me
work.
policies that work.
They do work.
See,
Well, then show me how they work.
Okay.
This is the laugh of somebody who realizes, oh, okay, I've already won. All I have to do is sit back and not fuck this up and give this guy enough rope to himself with, and I've won. This is the moment in the debate with me and Henry when I was like, oh, all right. Oh, is that because you think I'm gay and I won't tell anybody? That other stuff like that. Because there's no conversation here. There's no seeking of truth or ideas or anything like that. All we see is that you're just trying to do whatever you can to say more words, and hopefully the time runs out and you win. That's it. Glomta said maybe universal child tax credits and additions to the credits if your child is contributing well enough at a certain age, and less if they don't. Not bad. Admittedly, haven't thought that through. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that there's a lot of good good meat just to dive into and talk about it, and different aspects of it, like how many children, how much for the first child, what about all of this stuff. But we don't think about it because of the priming and the framing of these issues is that, well, we just need to give them more money. It's racist. No, it's not. And then when you get people who are coming from a different angle, it's like, we gotta be Christ only and raise the birth rate to 60 billion people on Earth. Inside the ages that employers used to pay the men with children and families more than the single men for the same amount of work. These programs existed voluntarily as an incentive before the government got involved. Isn't that the story of everything that sucks in this nation? It used to be good, and then the government. That is the story of everything. In Libya, they were offering new families $50,000 in interest-free loans to start their lives. God damn! Now, I'm sure the culture there is a lot different, because that $50K would be spent on some formula, some diapers, and then a new car, or rims, or an iPad, or a hoverboard, or some dumb shit. No. I mean, Libya's a failed state, so, I mean, I'm on my high horse a little bit, but you know what I mean. Word up. Everybody put Melted Mind Media in the chat. Thank you so much for being here, brother. You have a fantastic day and work. Yeah, we're here from the government, and we're here to help. Not. Said no one ever.
They do.
Give me
work.
policies that work.
They do work.
Well, then show me how they work.
Okay,
and where they work.
Wait, do you need me to explain to you how state subsidized daycare makes it easier for people to have kids?
Why it has not done any reversal to the birth rate in the nations which have implemented it?
Well,
because you didn't ask at what point did they implement these things. Oh, they didn't yet? Oh, they did it last year? Oh, that's why. This is why you shouldn't, I don't know, be such an asshole. Steve says it's like most of the taxes we pay now. Somebody thought they could extract money from the rich, and those taxes trickle down to the lower and middle classes. Yep, and I mean it's supposed to work that way, but the fact is that human greed is a real thing, and it's not a bad thing. And so if you're in a position to make more money, and you don't, that's stupid. So if we create a situation where we're expecting individuals to do the work of the market itself, it's not going to work because people are people and the market is the market. Yep. Y'all seen that video? God damn.
People to have kids.
Why?
Like,
It has not done any reversal to the birth rate in the nations which have implemented it.
Well,
None.
wait. Do you have data that demonstrates it as absolutely
Yes,
no
the
effect,
birth rate.
even though for the
Which
past
nation would
century?
you like to cite? And I'll give you the birth rates and that they're on the decline. Absolutely.
What specific policies? Wait, hold on. They're on the decline. Is it possible they would be more on the decline if it wasn't for those policies?
Maybe. Andrew, I never thought about the counterfactuals before.
It's possible.
How do you know? Then how do you know? Wait, no, that's
however,
so you
even if it's
confidently
the whole
say
thing,
you have
even
data
if
that
it were,
demonstrates the
but even if
correlation
it
to
were,
positive
they
behavior.
don't. You say that these are the policies which would reverse the trend. They don't reverse the trend.
I can give more. So
Then
a lot
give
of
more.
Sure. A lot of it also has to do with work culture. Even in a society in which people are given the opportunity to have children with state mandates and subsidies and what have you, there's a huge issue of like people lose out economically on a lot by having children. A lot of this also has to do with like keeping dads in the home, right? Like if a dad takes 6 months off work, even if it's part of paternity leave, that is a rough sell economically, and it can disincentivize their future promotions.
That is true. I think there does need to be a cultural, maybe not legislative, but a cultural change into the value of paternity. I mean, maternity leave as well. But where we see European countries that, their GDP is fine, and you get like 2-3 months, and it's just part of, again, the culture. It's not like the world would fall if people got time with their children. And then you orient people over work being the only thing that matters, and then you wonder why they're not as close knit with their family and their community as we once were.
I think that we should have a culture that is much more permissive towards people not being nonstop 24/7 workaholics, because that shit kills families. Not only does it prevent people from having kids, it also fucks up the kids if they are born.
This is a restatement of the same exact claim. You're giving a material position to this, and yet in the places where you have these material positions, like France, for instance, where you have a reduction in the work week, and you do have these types of childcare programs,
the birth rate didn't go up or drop or whatever it was. Yeah, the birth rate didn't go up. Okay, so then what is the point in that? The birth rate didn't go up, and therefore you have still yet to connect any consequence to that. You're just saying things.
You still see the collapse in free fall of their birth rates. This is not reversing these trends.
Wait,
that's
hold on.
3 times now that he said a free fall collapse. I think he said a collapse in free fall this time, but we'll count it 3 times.
The collapse in free
think somebody is using rhetoric
fall of their birth rates. This is not reversing these trends.
Wait, hold
whatsoever.
on. One second. France birth rate over time. You use very scary words like collapse and free fall, and I just want to make sure that it looks
Look it up
like
yourself.
It looks like hold on one second. It looks like it's been holding roughly steady for decades.
What?
So I literally Googled population freefall collapse. And oh shit, where am I? And says the global fertility rate, which is the average number of children born to a woman in her lifetime, has been declining since 1950 and is projected to continue to do so. In 1950, the global fertility rate was 4.4. 2021, it was 2.23. So we're talking over a period of 70 years. This is what he's calling 70 years. 70 years. Free fall collapse. Decline? Sure. Yeah, it's going down. Nobody's arguing that.
Roughly steady for decades?
What? Send it in the private chat. Let's take a look.
Yeah, wait, I have it shown here. So it looks like in
I wouldn't necessarily say steady. It's clearly declining. but it's very far from free fall collapse,
percentage increase
especially if you're saying that 3 different times in 28 minutes.
and decrease. There's been like a 2% aggregate decrease since. Wait, hold on. So it's
And I'm trusting
in the
Google's
year
AI
of our
right off the
Lord.
bat. So
What
I
year
don't know
is
what
this?
he's looking
Wait,
at.
hold on. Sorry.
2020.
2000. Right. No, 2000. 12.7. And then right here, you had down to 1. So I
So
guess
as
it's
of
reduced by a
2020,
couple
France
of
was at
percentage.
1.83 births per woman. That's not even replacement rate, Vaush.
Mhm.
You have nothing
they have-
here.
Well, okay, but what
Replacement rate just means one for every family they have 1.2 kids. So like if you have 1 kid, then the other family, if your family has 1 kid, the other family has to have 3 kids. Averages out to 1.2 to replace to keep the number exactly the same.
what's the rate over the past few decades?
You need
Also,
to have
they
at
have
least you
immigration.
need to have at least 2.2. But even if that were true, and the rate
No, 1.2, 1.2, homie, 1.2.
were still decreasing past your policy implementation, it hasn't reversed it. It
Wait,
hasn't done what you want it to do, man.
So wait, again, you don't seem to understand how this data works. The whole point of like
So one thing I will say is that the uber lefties definitely spend too much time looking at and studying the conclusions of studies. So I'm just putting that out there. Nick said, starting life on a farm, I can say there's pros and cons, like long hours during watering and picking season. But after cotton is picked, you have a little free time compared to most lines of work. There you go. Any cotton pickers, there you go.
inferring causality and why it's bad is that you don't know
If you thought racism, that's your fault.
whether or not these would have been worse otherwise. So I'm looking at macrotrends.net on the France fertility rate, where it seems like back in 1978, they had 1.8
Well, let's see if we can pull that up.
net.
Macrotrends.net. .net. Okay. And France. France. That's not how you spell it. Fertility. God damn it. I misspelled it. I don't know where I am now. Hold on. Okay. France. Fertility. Okay, I don't know what he's looking at, but
On the France fertility rate.
it says no result. I typed in France fertility at macrotrends.net. Fertility rate. What are you looking at, homie? What are you looking at?
These would have been worse otherwise. So I'm looking at macrotrends.net on the France fertility rate, where it seems like back in 1978, they had 1.86 births per woman, and right now they have 1.86 births per woman. There's been about a bunch of like fluctuation, but over the past 45 years, the French birth rate has stayed basically the same. So I don't like
You're
it when you
talking
use-
about
So let's try that. French birth rate. Yeah, so he said, yeah. Oh damn. Andrew was the one who said pick any country. 1975, 2.9. And today, 1.83. So, I think stable, relatively stable, I think is the phrasing that Vaush used. At least if we're talking about France, Vaush is right again.
past 45 years, the French birth rate has stayed basically the same. So I don't like
you're
it when you
talking
use
about
things like
a
collapse and
negligible
free fall.
difference right now.
Over
at 20
40 years, stay
Moving the
40 years.
goalpost, moving the goalpost. You said pick a country, and I guarantee you it'll be down in free fall. He did that, and now you're moving the goalpost.
In the year 2020, the United States at 1.64 birth rate,
I thought we were
and
talking about
France is only negligibly at 1.8. This is a negligible distinction,
we were
utilizing the
talking
same
about-
policies that you advocate for.
We were talking about
Moving the
France,
goalposts.
and
Mhm.
I just don't like you using terms like collapse and free fall when what we actually see is total stability over the past 40 years. I mean, that's
No,
not
we
really
don't.
collapse and
In
free-
fact, I'm pulling up their birth
Here, I
rate
can
looks
link it to
exactly
you.
like their birth rate looks exactly like ours. It has been collapsing since World War II. There's
Okay,
no
wait,
doubt
hold
that
on.
I'm looking.
Yeah, because what are the baby boomers? It's almost like they named a whole generation after having a high birth rate.
Looking at the data.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna link you this really quickly so you can see what I'm seeing because I feel like we're talking past each other a little bit.
If you want to share the
perhaps you-
screen, just add it and I can share the screen. That's fine.
here. Well, I've just linked it. You
Well,
can,
no,
you
just
can-
put it in the private chat, and I'll get a look at it here.
All right, it's
There.
in there.
Why are
I've
you
linked
hiding
it. I've linked it.
Did y'all catch that? No. Don't show it. Don't show it. Don't show it. Just link it in the private chat so I can see it. Sus. Methinks you found out that you're talking shit.
No,
you
just put
can-
it in the private chat, and I'll get a look at it here.
All right, it's
There.
in there.
I've linked it. I've linked it right there. And as you can see, the French birth rate has remained stable for nearly 45 years now, which is pretty significant, I feel. Unless
Yup. Comtech. I think this might be the comment of the night. Andrew just Matt Walshed himself. There's millions of kids getting their body parts chopped off. Or no, what did you say? There's millions of kids on puberty blockers. No, 20% of Gen Z does identify in the LGBT community. But most of those kids are just losers who say, I'm queer now. They're not taking those things. Will they? That's the plan. But it's not millions of children. And it's again, it seems to be a pattern, not just with Christian nationalists, but with people who have a clear agenda and work backwards. Work from, here's the answer that I want to have. How can I make that fit? What can I pick out of the world? Because the world is very complex. There's multifaceted. So you can make anything seem like anything if you are good enough at tying things together, talking in such a way that people lose the actual connection and focus on an individual point at a time. Vaush is very good at doing that. Andrew is not. And I mean, and so far, Vaush has just really been on defense. So he hasn't really put forth too much for us to even disagree with. Besides the free daycare and stuff like that. But so far he's just been saying, no, Andrew, you're wrong. Let's give that a comment. It's not even there. Where is it? Wait. There we go. Dilly to you, sir.
unless I'm misreading this data, but it was at 1.86 per woman back in 1978, and it's the same today. So again, like free fall and stability are
1.5. So okay, so we see a historical collapse. We see in the UN projections and yet another collapse. So no, listen.
I'm looking.
So they're essentially looking at what we just looked at.
This is still a collapse.
Wait, what collapse? I'm looking at a horizontal line. What is your definition of collapse? Where's the collapse?
Yeah, so I'm going to send you over the counter data because this is not correct.
In the data, okay. So you're contesting the data, but in the data that I'm looking at that I just sent you, the macro trends link, you would agree that this is not a collapse. This is stability, right?
According to this particular projection, what I see is a massive free fall, which happened. You would agree that that's a free fall, right?
Well, it decreased. Free fall implies like a lack of stability when in fact our countries are the most stable,
so it goes down. Okay, so it starts at 2.8 and it goes all the way down to 1.8.
Okay, so now we're just arguing semantics. So I'm going to jump ahead to the next little bump here. Sure, they won't have moved on too far, but let's see.
To analyze trends of stuff like birth rates in a nation that go forward and backward decades, you try to use like larger aggregate data rather than
like global data.
Sure, like over decades and decades.
So let me give you the global data.
The global data shows the population is increasing, but again,
what is the global?
I'm gonna move. I'm gonna keep it moving. Keep it moving. They get into another tip here. Let's see what we got.
Equal. There's no societal negative utils.
Oh, okay. I kind of remember.
If we could know and get absolute fact, do that. Locations
equal.
Make
rule utilitarianism.
Okay.
To do it, yeah.
What I allow people to, I think it is unethical in that context still because of rule utilitarianism. Now, if you
wait a little bit, we're getting right to it.
Cultural respect that we have for subjects that go outside the purview of pure human behavior.
And
so
last question, and then I'll answer your.
Well, I just want to know what you
I'm
want.
Almost done. I'm almost done. I just want to know.
Okay, perfect. So we missed a bunch of bullshit, and now we're getting back into some real conversation.
If all things were equal, and a person having sex with a dead body did not negatively affect anybody through utility, there was no negative utils that you could point to. Would you be for it?
For it. I wouldn't.
Would you
for
allow
it.
people to do it? Yeah.
Would I allow people to? I think it is unethical in that context still because of rule utilitarianism. Now, if you could stop projecting your kink onto the discussion, I would.
So, in case you're not sure, in case you're not sure what's happening, they were talking about the utility of this happening versus that happening, and they somehow got onto the morality of having sex with a dead body. So. The position is that if it's not going to hurt anybody, then there shouldn't be a law against it in the libertarian worldview. As Vaush just said, I mean, even Vaush is like, well, I wouldn't allow it, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. Even Vaush, the lolly, I don't know what else. I don't know what else to call him, but that guy who's looking at drawn CP is saying, well, yeah, I wouldn't do that. And that's the point that Andrew is trying to get him on. That, well, because you are so libertarian that you're willing to let people do things that I find disgusting, that's a bad ideology. And that's, again, just very level one type shit. Like, yes, liberty is not always pretty. That's why you want authoritarian or theocratic authoritarianism. Because you're a baby little bitch and you don't know how to deal with people who think differently than you do. Clearly. Yeah, right. The goalposts have gone to your anus. Just make sure that anus ain't dead. Where did the drawing hurt you?
Context still because of rule utilitarianism. Now, if you could stop projecting your kink onto the discussion, I would.
Why would this be against rule utilitarianism?
Because rule
That's bizarre.
There you go. Yeah. The horse cock guy. How is he? I don't even want to say it, but he's winning.
I can't explain all ethical philosophy to you because
you don't need to. I know what a rule utilitarian is, so.
Then why are you asking me?
Because a rule utilitarian would still have to follow utils. In this particular case, at all thing equal, there is no negative utils which are applied. Your answer should be, as a utilitarian, to say that that's fine. I don't see how you could get away
because the point
regardless of.
So utils just means like consequences. So he's like, oh, if there's if there's no negative consequences, then you as a libertarian should say that yes, it's fine. But there's other factors than just that. And I mean, I obviously have a decency, apparently to some level, a great deal lower, but to some level, so does Vaush. But let's see.
Otherwise, everything would just be act utilitarianism. The point of rule utilitarianism is that you have sort of social boundaries and guidelines and ethical expectations that exceed individual assessments of the
unless
utility
they give because those give negative utils.
Okay,
so that's why I said all things equal. There's no negative utils.
No, so I can't explain if you don't understand. Okay, here's a good example. Okay, imagine so it is unethical to punch somebody like out of nowhere. That's generally not good. You should.
Okay, now we're back in the realm of normal people. Punching people.
Do that. However, imagine a person had like divine precog and they could know for an absolute fact that if they punch this one random dude on the street, it will actually be good for them because when they go to the hospital for their broken nose, it'll be discovered that they have a relatively benign brain cancer tumor.
Interesting. Okay, so we're all following the analogy. So this person has some brain tumor that right now it's benign, but eventually it's gonna kill them. And you, not having any knowledge of that, you punch, excuse me, he did say college. So because you know that, you can't convince them that you can see the future, that you or whatever. So you just punch him in the nose, and he goes to the hospital, and they find the tumor. That's the situation that Vaush has set up here.
Nose, it'll be discovered that they have a relatively benign brain cancer tumor. So in reality, punching them will be a way to help them get treatment early and will actually save 30 years of their life. Now, even under those circumstances, if we could know for an absolute fact that the consequence of punching that person would be morally good.
The question is, would you punch that person? So let's see, would you punch that person? Yes or no? You know for sure. This person has a tumor in their head, and they're not going to do anything about it, and it's going to kill them. The only way is to punch them. Would you do it?
Circumstances, if we could know for an absolute fact that the consequence of punching that person would be morally good, I still think it would be morally right for them to be
arrested. And the reason you think that is because there would be society.
He didn't wait. Come on. I think he said it would still be morally wrong in terms of maybe free will or something like that, but cut him off so I couldn't hear him.
still think it would be morally right for them to be
And the reason
arrested
you
for
think that
assault.
is because there would be for them societal.
Still think it would be morally right for them to be
And the
arrested
reason you
for
think
assault.
that is because
to be able to reason through that. I think that's what he said. Yeah, Nick said, freedom has never been free. It is a continuous fight to be free. And until we make our government work for us, we cannot truly be free. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dilly, dilly, do that. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
there would be societal negative utils. So that's why I said all things equal, there's no societal negative utils.
And again, the fact that he said the nobody says utils. You're just saying that because you read it somewhere or heard it and you're like, oh, that was going to make me sound smart. You could just say consequences. You could just say consequences. It doesn't make you dumber because you say consequences, utils.
Societal negative utils. So that's why I said all things equal, there's no societal negative utils. Why would it not be okay from your worldview for people to have sex with dead bodies?
If you are detaching this from ethics so much to the point where even real utilitarianism doesn't have any consideration, you might as well be asking if it's ethical to fuck a corpse in a dream.
Ooh, got him. So I am here with Guantex says I wouldn't punch them because the idea on a large scale leads to things like the plebs don't understand, so we'll decide for them. Exactly. This is why. And so where we at? Where we at? Now that we went through that, so 60-40 on that, 60-40 on that. And this is the same reason, not the same reason, but a similar reason why when we bring up the trolley problem, that a lot of people say that they would pull the lever. Put them on in the chat if you're not familiar with the trolley problem. I know we've talked about it a bunch, but if you are not familiar, I'll go over quickly. But again, that's why a lot of people in the first iteration of the trolley problem would pull the lever because they just see the utilitarian value that, okay, there's one person on the train track and I can, or if there's 5 people on the train track and I can pull a lever and it goes and kill only one person, then then less people are dying. So in a utilitarian world, that's the better option. But the reason that I would let those 5 people die and allow that and not allow, I have no agency in this situation because inserting myself into the situation, pulling a lever to change a train that's going to go and kill people that are tied to a track, to go on a different track to kill a different person. Now I'm the one who's killed that person. I don't know who those 5 people are. I don't know why they're tied to the tracks. I certainly don't know who that other person is. Maybe we got 5 pedos that, got off on a technicality and somebody's doing their due. And then on the other track is somebody who, is a really good person, but, they all the other pedos came and they were like, oh, if you're going to tie up our guys, we're going to tie you up. I don't know, but that's precisely why. Not for me. I am not sentencing somebody who is an innocent, what I view as an innocent person and no reason to die. I am not going to sentence people to die. And so for that same reason, unfortunately, I would reason with you that's what I think Vaush was about to say before Andrew cut him off, that still you should be able to reason with the person and they should have the freedom to decide, no, I'm going to let this kill me for exactly this reason.
For people to have sex with dead bodies.
If you are detaching this from ethics so much to the point where even real utilitarianism doesn't have any consideration, you might as well be asking if it's ethical to fuck a corpse in a dream. Like you're asking about something that can't happen in reality. In reality, the consequences of rule utilitarian analysis would always apply because. So
what he's saying is that even if nobody is getting hurt by that act, I don't know, say that. Even if nobody's getting hurt, there are still utils in the sense that my own moral picture of myself, if anybody were to find out, the sanctity of that person's body, all of these things are still in effect. Just because nobody is getting hurt isn't the end all be all of why we do or do not do things. Punkmaster General said the guy that tied up the pedos might be the one guy on the track. Exactly. You don't know. You don't know. If you don't know. If you know that, then definitely don't touch the lever. Wait, the guy that tied up? Yeah, exactly. If you know that, you're definitely not pulling the lever. If it's the other way around, and you know that it's 5 pedo hunters on the track, and then you pull the lever, and it's 1 pedo on the other track, then maybe you would. But again, without that information, all you have is 5 and 1. And then you actually, it gets easier because you can either do a big jump from, just the trolley problem. There's 5 people on the track, or you can pull the lever and it goes to the 1. Then you can, you switch it. You either go slowly and say, okay, well, what if there's no lever, but you're on a bridge with a really, really, really fat guy, fat enough or skinny enough that you could push him off the bridge and he would land on the track, but fat enough that he would stop the train or derail it enough that it would save those people. Okay, are you pushing the person? Now that's a little bit closer to pulling a lever. Now you're pushing somebody to their death. And you can go, okay, so, or even before that, you can say, okay, well, it's 5 strangers on the main track and your high school bully on the other track, and you pull the lever. I don't know. You might want to pull the lever in that situation. And then you do the jump. Instead of going slowly, well, what about if it's this people and those people? You jump and you switch it from, okay, take the trolley away. Now you're a doctor. And you have 5 patients lying on the table that are about to die unless they get an organ transplant. And you've got 1 healthy person with all those beautiful organs. Most people, of course, when you ask, would you kill that 1 person and harvest their organs to save the 5? Of course people say no. But from a utilitarian point of view, it's the exact same thing. Shout out to Zippy, DSM Lee, over on Rumble with the Rumble Rant. Morning coming up. There we go. Oh, let me get him on screen for ya. There we go. Thank you. Zippy says, Ajay, where did the drawing hurt you? Okay, guys, I gotta share something with you. None. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. Guantex, I've never actually heard the non-utilitarian side of the trolley problem. You can't pull the lever because now it's on you versus you just witnessing what was already set in motion. Exactly. Goes to show just how how the non-utilitarian side of that problem is never discussed. Yeah. And so, you can a million different combinations of like, okay, what if it's 5 of these people and 1 of those, or what if it's 2 and 2? There's a million different ways that you can do it. The idea is there's no right or wrong answer. It's just to kind of see like, okay, where do you fall on this spectrum of what you would and would not do. All right.
The reality.
Yeah. So he doesn't understand that. Andrew doesn't understand that. He's just like, well, there's no util. So what's the problem? You're fucking a dead body, bro. That's the problem.
In reality, the consequences of rule utilitarian analysis would always apply because you're always subject to the.
Do you know what a hypothetical is? A hypothetical is not designed necessarily to be mapped onto reality.
Can you please just tell me what outcomes or what anything you want to do to reality?
So that's a big part of what we missed is that Vaush over and over throughout the part that we skipped was saying like, okay, well, what is it that you want to occur in society? And other than less abortion, Andrew has just said nothing, which is why he's frustrated.
What outcomes or what anything you want to do to reality?
I've already told you multiple times. First thing I would do is stop abortion. Second thing I would do is put a halt on underage people being able to be allowed to have unfettered access to pornography on the internet.
No, wait. The ethics I wanted to know. So you
said this would be Christian.
Right. So what he's asking you is why do you not want people to have abortions? Why do you not want children to be on P-Hub? That's what he's asking you.
Ethics, Christian ethics. Do you need me to break those down for you?
Well, it depends because which Christian are we talking about? As M169 and Zippy already brought up, it's not as simple as you think it is. Maybe take 2.5 years before you go around the internet championing Christian nationalism without even understanding Christianity itself.
Yes, please. I want to know what you're trying to do here. So
Christian ethics work around virtues and they work around duties. And there is overlap with outcomes sometimes because duties sometimes lead to outcomes which can be negative, and so you adjust duties accordingly. Yes.
What tells you what a duty is?
This is
duty.
divine command for us Christians.
God said it.
Yeah. So what tells you? How do you know?
God says it.
We would know this through church authority.
Through church authority.
Yes.
So just any old pastor, like your whole ethical system would change?
No, churches are a whole holistic system. There's only two churches which exist, the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. There's a
This is news to me, guys. This is news to me. There's only two. There's only two types of Christians. I bet you he follows this up with some of the rest of them aren't real Christians. This is what's called the no true Scotsman fallacy. Put a 1 in the chat if you're not familiar with the no true Scotsman fallacy. OMG, eye roll is right.
system. There's only two churches which exist, the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. There's a series of
Wait, are you Catholic or Orthodox? Out of
I'm
curiosity?
Orthodox. There's a series
Yeah, I'm
of
sure. Wait, when did you convert?
2 years ago.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure. Okay.
What does this
right.
have to do with
So-
anything? Do you have
What does this have to do with anything? Clearly, you don't see how ignorant you are. This is why self-awareness is so very, very, very important. You have to be able to see where you're just. I don't even know. I don't even get it. I don't even get it. So if
We
you're
Christians
not
are
familiar with the no true Scotsman fallacy,
not committing a no true Scotsman fallacy when we note Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and even some progressive Christians are not really Christians. No true Scotsman is an ad hoc rescue of one's generalization,
so it says this error, or let's see if he reads it.
in which the reasoner
Yeah, so this error is a kind of ad hoc rescue of one's generalization in which the reasoner recharacterizes the situation solely in order to escape a refutation of the generalization.
characterizes the situation solely in order to escape refutation of the generalization. To better explain what that means, we can look at the original example that Anthony Flew came up with when he coined the fallacy. No Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge, but my Uncle Angus is a Scotsman and he puts sugar on his porridge. But no true Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge.
No true Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge. So this is a fallacy because you're creating a subgroup, or you're putting limits on the group that don't actually exist. Being a Scotsman means that you're from Scotland. That's it. So no true Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge. I'm not Scottish. That might be true, but it doesn't make you not Scottish.
Uncle Angus is a Scotsman and he puts sugar on his porridge, but no true Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge. As you can see, for the first person, what makes someone a true Scotsman is some arbitrary or ad hoc reason that really has nothing to do with being a Scotsman. And this is not what we Christians are doing when we note someone like a Mormon is not really a Christian, because we're not dismissing their claim to be a Christian from an arbitrary reason, but from a meaningful reason. Words have to have a coherent meaning.
I did not expect this, but okay, let's see. So now it's okay to use what is arguably the no true Scotsman fallacy for Mormons, for Christians, because it's not arbitrary. I did not know we were going to go down this road, but hey, we're here.
And we Christians are allowed to define the boundaries of our
You think this guy's Christian?
own belief system and what we mean by the term Christian, which we use to describe ourselves. A Christian is someone who holds to orthodox beliefs and doctrines, the faith that was handed down from the apostles and what is taught in Scripture. If you reject an essential doctrine,
Bro, this whole video is a no true Scotsman fallacy. I mean, it's labeled correctly, abusing the no true Scotsman fallacy. So he's saying, we can do, but I mean, like, you guys get it. It's saying that, what is this? No true Scotsman with, music. No music.
The no true Scotsman fallacy. The no true Scotsman fallacy is also known as the appeal to purity fallacy. This fallacy is an argument that attempts to protect a universal generalization or stereotype by defining a word in a narrow, biased manner. The term no true Scotsman comes from the following example. Angus says, no Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge. Scotty responds, my uncle is a Scotsman and he puts sugar on his porridge. And Angus replies, no true Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge. The no true Scotsman fallacy is committed when someone defends a universal generalization by redefining terms in a manner that simply ignores evidence that contradicts the generalization.
The former vice president growing visibly testy a little bit after it was insinuated
Testy.
that he had not done enough to prioritize the black community.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I don't know how I have not put together that is the epitome of a no true Scotsman fallacy until right this very moment. I can't believe that. I cannot believe I didn't put that together. I feel stupid for not.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is.
How dare you question daddy government? You ain't black. Yeah, the Baptists really love them some Jesus. They might disagree with the only two types of Christians. Honestly, the worst part of this Andrew guy's argument is that he's actually doing more harm by allowing Vaush to destroy him in real time. People will always choose godlessness if Christians sound this dumb. I'm doing what I can, guys. I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. Oh, shit. Jesus Christ, Dylan. Jesus Christ. Left field.
I bet. I'm sure. I'm sure. Wait, when did you convert?
2 years ago.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure. Okay.
What does this have to do with anything? Do you have a refutation or not?
A refutation of what argument, of what logic?
That there's only two whole holistic churches.
Yeah, I'd say that there are like a fucking million Protestant churches. Yeah.
Confirmed as a Methodist.
How can a Protestant church operate as a holistic church if they don't recognize church authority?
No true Scotsman.
What is that? They are their church authority.
They can't be their church authority because they believe in sola scriptura. They get all of their ethical commands through the Bible alone.
Okay, so hold on really quick. So
I want to know if it's funnier, if this is funnier as an atheist or if this is funnier as a Christian. I'm really not sure. I think it might be funnier as a Christian, but I'm having a blast. I don't know.
Commands through the Bible alone.
Okay, so hold on really quick. So do you think, so hold on, which is correct then, the Catholic or the Orthodox church authority?
The Orthodox church authority is correct, yeah.
Okay, so not the Catholic.
Even the Catholics recognize that the church authority of the Orthodox is also correct.
Okay, so you agree then with the precepts of the current Pope and all of the statements that he's made?
No. They agree with us. We don't agree with them.
Whoa, hold on. He was chosen by God, was he not?
No.
Then where in the Orthodox Church?
Okay, one more time. You're not listening. So just listen and you'll get this. The Catholics agree with us and our church doctrine. We don't agree with theirs.
We're the real Christians. That's all he's saying. No true Scotsman. That all the other types of Baptists and Protestants and Lutherans and all of them, they're not really Christians. The Catholics are Christians too, but the Pope ain't really shit. It's just my religion. It's just my version of Christianity that's right. Everybody else has it wrong.
So your doctrines are different.
Yes, we don't have popes, but they concede that we have correct theology and church authority. Yes.
Even though you
I cannot. It will never compute. Two grown men. Well, my daddy said that I can do this and go to bed at this time. That's what this sounds like to me. I'm sorry if that offends you, but this is silly, childlike thinking. You are an adult. Do things for reasons, real reasons that have rationality behind them, not because a sky daddy told you so.
Concede that we have,
especially if you don't actually believe that there is a man in the sky.
Correct theology and church authority. Yes.
Even though you disagree with them. How does that work?
We don't agree with them. They agree with us. I just said this 4 times.
So, right, you've said it, but it doesn't.
What are you, bro?
If they think
guys, I would generally like to avoid.
I want to know. Like, this is
I
like
just said this 4 times.
So
yeah, they agree with us. We don't agree with them. What don't you get? What don't you get? We agree. They agree with us. We don't agree with them.
You said it, but it doesn't make sense. So
how does it not make sense?
I'm trying to explain.
Vaush agrees with me, but I don't agree with Vaush. What's wrong with that statement, Vaush?
So considering the fact that churches...
No. What's wrong with that statement, Vaush?
Because multiple people can have multiple correct opinions, but when you claim to have the divine authority, then only one can be right, you stupid fucking moron!
What's wrong with that statement, Vaush?
So considering the fact that churches...
No. What's wrong with that statement, Vaush? Answer my question, Vaush. Stop pivoting from every question I ask you. I just answered all of yours.
Come on. If you get so triggered, we can't even talk. There's no point.
Bro, you just pivot.
Stop. He's literally answering your question. It is very clear and easy to be able to tell why this is a dumb thing for you to say. And you know it, which is why you won't shut up and let him explain it to the people. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Just like Vaush was talking a lot before, I better start talking about, well, just tell me then. Tell me. Why don't you answer? Why don't you answer? Cringe.
Answer
Andrew,
all of yours.
Come on. If you get so triggered, we can't even talk. There's no point.
Bro, you just pivot.
We
Stop
finally
pivoting.
talk,
Wait,
Stop
Andrew,
pivoting.
Andrew, let him finish
Finally, Alex, thank you. What's the point of having a moderator on screen?
answering.
You're not gonna say
Why won't he answer? You won't force him answering mine. Only me answering his.
I need the moderator to do my work for me because I'm too stupid and I believe in bullshit.
So
His
force
hair,
him
yeah.
answering mine now.
Hang on. I literally did that like 10 minutes
just
ago.
asked a
Forced him
question.
to
I
answer the
just
question.
Innocent
Let's just
How do you look like a baby bitch debating Vaush?
let him ask his question. I promise you. After that, if he doesn't answer your question, I will force that as well.
Ask
Okay.
Vaush. Why does it make no sense?
Sure. Yeah. Because churches, and I know this for a fact with the Catholic Church, not only are there like different groups of the Catholics, right? It's not just one group, and there are groups of the Catholics who don't agree with the Pope, and this, that, the other. But also, considering the fact that churches tend to have pretty holistic worldviews when it comes to all of the precepts of their religious text and authority, and all the ways in which they should act, and all their ethical precepts, the idea that the Catholic Church could just wholesale endorse the Orthodox Church, while the other way around doesn't really work. If the Orthodox Church believes things that are contradictory to the Catholic Church couldn't endorse those contradictory practices. That doesn't help me understand. I'm curious.
They agree with us,
On
and
what?
they agree with our doctrine. We do not agree with their doctrine. So it's like,
So you're saying that they're wrong. What are they wrong about then? Vaush, you just got to go straight to it because he's too dumb to understand what you're trying to tee up.
Vaush saying, I agree with everything Andrew says. Okay, but I'm still going to live my life and
I would never
whatever
say that.
differently than how Andrew does. Okay,
What do
you
we
can
disagree
still
with the Catholics
both of these things can be true at the same time without any problem. Now back to
Yeah, but neither of you are claiming to have divine authority, are you?
my question.
But
Now it's
what
time.
do you disagree
Now
with
it's
the
my
Catholics on?
now it's my turn. Remember,
I just want to know.
answered
I've
yours.
never talked to a
I
member of the
just
Orthodox before.
answered your question. Now
And yeah,
back-
Vaush, let him ask the question.
I have to catch up on my religious history before I can challenge these big brain points.
yeah.
But
So
go ahead.
now, kind of back to my question. Yes, there's only two churches which have actual holistic views. So Protestants, generally speaking, do not, and they actually concede that they don't because they can't. Now, when you're talking about Christian nationalism in and of itself, of course, I would always advocate for my church to be the church that was, cooperating with the government, or even in some cases being the government if necessary. But
No, you don't say. You want your beliefs to by authority, by dictatorial authority, be the rule of the land, sir. That is un-American. You don't belong in my country. You dirty, filthy slime bag. Get the fuck off my land.
you yourself would advocate for the same thing with your communism. You don't want MAGA communism. You don't want tanky communism. You want Vaush brand.
I mean, he's right there. He's right there. I thought he was going to say the same thing, like exactly. But I mean, yep, he ain't wrong.
In some
Broken
cases,
clock.
being the government if necessary. But you yourself would advocate for the same thing with your communism. You don't want MAGA communism. You don't want
What the fuck is MAGA communism?
tanky communism.
Actually, I have heard that. Who was it that said they were a MAGA communist? It was definitely on the show. If somebody can remember it, that would be amazing.
You want
question
Vaush
you
brand.
answer?
You want Vaush brand communism. So the criticism applies to you as much as it applies to me.
Right, but he's not saying that his opinion is divinely inspired. That's where you lose. Because you can be wrong as a human, but when you say God said it and then you're wrong, oops, that has a lot more implications. That has much higher stakes. If you're saying God said it, if you say I said it, I'm just some dumb fuck. I could be wrong. Can God? Oh, if God can be wrong, then how do you know God's not wrong? Exactly. I mean, yes, but does it? At this stage of the conversation, don't think that really matters, which is why Vaush isn't even, arguing it. But technically, you're correct.
You want Vaush brand communism. So the criticism applies to you as much as it applies to me.
Andrew, is there a question there though?
I have no idea.
Okay. So
I already did it. You just, and I don't want to do it again. What a child. What a child. Zippy said, question is, for the greater good. That is not a full sentence. Are you asking me, is the quote, for the greater good, not divine in a sense? Not in the religious sense of divine, not of this world. I believe the greater good is of this world, which is precisely the point. We don't need anything divine, because for the greater good can and will exist without God, because it is only dogma that brings us away from the greater good. Well, Marxism, socialism, communism all lead to the gulag, so it's semantics. Yep. And I mean, I think we would get frustrated if he was talking and Andrew was saying communism. Like, well, wait, it's not communism, it's libertarian socialism. Same shit. You want the government to control everything, and somehow you put libertarian on it, so it's not it somehow has something to do with that. But socialism is socialism, homie. I don't know. I that's why I don't understand what that means.
Andrew, is there a question there though?
I have no idea.
Well, okay. So the question becomes: is that not true?
Okay.
That different people have different ideas. Yes, I've noticed that happens sometimes in my
day. So
Yes.
you would advocate for your brand of this.
Yes.
So whatever criticism you want to give me for the fact that there's tons of sects of Christianity, this also is true of communism. You have to
Right, but communism again is not divinely inspired. Doesn't claim to be divinely inspired.
contend with that as much as I do.
Well, there aren't any sects of communism. There are different ideas, sure. But I guess like my curiosity would be,
What do you mean they're not
Come on, Vaush. You've been doing well. Please just go for the jugular with this fucking bullshit.
sects? What's a sect?
I think that sect is a religious term, is it not? Does it just refer broadly to like different groups of people? Because if that's the case, sure, there are plenty of sects of communism.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I assumed it was like religious connotation.
Got him. Oh, multiple sects of socialism. Oh, I win now. Is that not how that works? Okay. So you say, okay, I get things mixed. Since God or the church wants the greater good, right? Only their version of it, exactly. And again, that's not, as Andrew just pointed out, this isn't inherently wrong. It's not inherently wrong to want what you believe is the best thing to manifest. But when you take the extra authority, and say, well, I think this, but God, it's God's will. It's a cop-out, because then you don't have to back up the evidence or logic as to why things should be the way you want them. Just God said. Comrade, state is God. Do not blasphemy. You got it.
Sects of
Okay.
communism.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I assumed it was, like, religious connotation.
I think, I mean, what do you guys think? Does that have a religious? I feel like sect has a, if not at least specifically religious, like a cult would have sects. What else has a sect? Different sects, other than religions and bodies of people who coalesce around an ideology. Again, semantics, not really important.
I don't know what this was in response to. I guess the issue is that I still have no idea what your like fundamental ethical basis is. I think that
What is Christian? Then tell me what Christian ethics are.
How the
Which
fuck should I know?
ones?
All of
Well,
you
I
different
just
ideas
explained them to
are
you.
completely incoherent every time I talk to a Christian. So I have no idea. I will never know. I don't think.
I don't think so either. And I spent 20 years as a Christian.
I asked you and you got mad at me. So I feel like
No, I didn't get mad at you. I explained them to you.
He did.
So okay, where does your divine command theory come from?
God.
Okay, how do you know your God is the correct one?
Well, regardless, even if I was wrong, let's just assume for a second I was completely wrong and my God was not the correct one.
If your God's not the correct one, why the fuck are you listening to him? If there's a different God out there and you're praising the wrong God, then you should probably change everything about your life. I knew I was going to get triggered. I can't believe he just said that. I'm a little flabbergasted and speechless at the moment. Zippy says sect and clam have the same clan have the same connotation, so it can be used for an ideological order, I read a lot of Eastern comics. I think if you mean clan, then that makes sense. But clam means something different. Okay, thought so. Next said, isn't the belief that Jesus Christ is the savior the only thing that makes you a Christian or not? I didn't think attending a church was mandatory. Well, according to Andrew, it is. So you're not a real Christian. You never were. Don't say, answer the question, Andrew. As a Christian, you should have known a better answer. There you go. There you go. It looks like you aren't a real Christian, Andrew.
Even if I was wrong, let's just assume for a second I was completely wrong and my God was not the correct one. This really doesn't change the question of Christian nationalism and whether I think that both the
yeah, when you get the he jimmed the camera. He jimmed the camera.
It doesn't change the question of Christian nationalism and whether I think that
that's the look of I thought I was right before, but I can just chill. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Joe. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So I think his angle on this debate was, even if my religion is wrong, the outcomes are still better for humanity. And I generally agree with that. As an atheist, I generally agree with that. That's why it's so surprising that he's so bad at this that I'm agreeing with Vaush. Yes, I am an atheist, but I have a great value. I find great value in the values that come from Christianity in general. I don't take this sect over that sect over that. But I agree that the outcomes generally are going to be better. But that still comes down to my main point, that the only reason this is true is because we haven't created an alternative moral structure for people to grab onto, for those of us who cannot believe in religion. I was born into the Christian church. I was confirmed in the Methodist church. And you can't make your brain believe something any more than you can make your brain not believe something. So whether you believe in God is not a choice. It's a matter of happenstance. And so if that is the case, then okay, maybe as a Christian, you would want more people to be Christians, but that doesn't change the fact that there is a sect of the population that cannot accept your or any other religion. And so for those people, do we want them to become all leftists? Or do we want to have space on the right where you don't have to believe in God? You definitely don't have to believe in this God. You just have to behave according to these values. Most of us get these values from the Bible. Some of us get these values from moral philosophy. Maybe we get them a little bit of Buddhism and a little bit of Hinduism and a little bit of Jainism and a little bit of Christianity and mix it all together, as long as, especially if we're talking politically, we're not getting into the spiritual realm. We're just talking politically. Politically, if you're acting like a Christian would act, then what is the problem? So I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. But that's why it's such a massive fail to not be able to say this. That's where he failed. But welcome to the party, Joe. Context. Oh man, talking about Christian Watson. I wonder what Christian Watson would have to say about Andrew's statements. Would they be best buds or mortal enemies? I don't know. I think, to be fair to our boy here, I do think he would disagree with Andrew. Maybe not as much as he disagreed with me, but I don't think he would support this. Just my speculation. So don't.
This really doesn't change the question of Christian nationalism and whether I think that both the results and the things that I want to see in society would be correct. So
then why tie it to Christianity? Why not just deal in the outcomes that you want to see in society? Cut out the middleman. Cut out the middleman. It's so simple. It's right there. It's right there. You win. You win. You win. When you throw out the dogma and you keep good values, you win. People are inherently by and large, good people. People just want to be peaceful. They want to be, with their families. They want to have a good job. They want to make money. They want to go home. They want to watch TV. They don't want to hurt other people. That's the general. But when you have a culture that creates a gap, because Christianity has not done a good job at proving its legitimacy, and then you fail to say, okay, fine. Maybe, it requires faith. And as far as science goes, there's so much that faith doesn't necessarily make sense. If you have faith, great. But if you don't have faith, here is the meat and bones of it. Here's the thing that we want you to do. Here's the things that we don't want you to do. And here's why we want you to do or not do those things. That's how you win. That's how you win people over. That's how you bring people in. Not, oh, we need a Christian theocracy. What? Come on. Shout out to Tug Dixon. Welcome to the party. Said, what's up, fam? I'm pretty conservative leaning, but I'd almost rather hang out with Vaush and then Andrew Wilson if I had to choose. Hey, put the almost in there, but I'm a dilly that. I agree. I think it would be, you definitely would have more interesting conversations. I mean, he might say some wild out there shit about horse cocks and drawing this, that, and the other, but it ain't going to be boring. With Andrew, you know exactly what you're getting. And that's not a good thing. Welcome to the party, Tug Dixon.
I think that both the results and the things that I want to see in society would be correct. So regardless of, even if all of the beliefs from which I derive divine command would be false, the integration with the state would still be what I would advocate for, just like you, the communist.
Okay, so then why not just go there? Why are you trying to use this vehicle that is a broken down lemon? It's not a good vehicle for the values that you want to see. The values are great. Just get a better car.
Even if your beliefs...
Oh, he's on his phone. Okay. You tell me, is there anything weird about the way that the guy at the bottom here uses his phone? You tell me.
Are fundamentally false based on nothing more than your ideas. You still want to integrate them and see them in society. So we're not here to have a religious debate over whether God is real. We're here to have a debate over whether or not Christian nationalism is something that can even be done. I propose that it is, and I propose that the ideas are better than your communist outlook, which we're much closer to than we are a Christian outlook.
And what does that say? If we are much closer to a Vaush world than a Christian outlook on God, or what you actually mean to say is a Christian theocracy, number one, maybe you should ask if the people who live in the country want a Christian theocracy. And the answer is no. So that's the first thing. And then secondly, as I've said, just because you believe in a thing that you can't prove and are willing to admit that you might be wrong about, you want other people to base their entire lives and legislation on the truth of that thing. And you don't see why that doesn't make sense. Who are you trying to appeal to? The people who already agree with you. And if you're doing that, then you're not doing anything. You're just becoming noise. You are noise. If you're not challenging yourself and or other people, you are noise. Zippy said, Vaush is like Bill Clinton, someone to have a beer with. The other guy will steal your beer and cry into it. Hey, there you go. Multiculturalism is conversion by the sword, conversion to communism. Yep, and don't get it twisted. Just because Vaush is debating better doesn't mean that I agree more with his positions. I agree way more with Andrew, although I have stark disagreements where he thinks that I shouldn't be allowed to have children. But that's still not as crazy as the government should control everything. And if we live in a world where we have our values, I don't really give a fuck what you think about me because I can still do it. It don't matter. So, it stands.
Than your communist outlook, which we're much closer to than we are a Christian outlook.
Good.
God willing, inshallah. Yes, of course. So again, how do you know that your God is real? Like, how do you know that you have the right set of
Why
morals,
does that,
etc.?
what is that? If you can tell me what this has to do with the topic of the debate.
Okay, so you guys, right? So he holds his phone and he has his finger like this, and he uses a thumb and like, I don't know exactly how it's done, but it's like that. Like, who does that? Who does that? Use your thumbs like a fucking human being. That's why our thumbs are opposable. God damn it. Liberty and freedom. Make multiculturalism moot, as each person gets to choose where they want to be. Bingo. Bingo. Bingo.
Like, how do you know that you have the right set of morals?
Why does that, what is that? If you can tell me what this has to do with the topic of the debate, I'll engage with it.
If you want us to follow your God, you need to prove that that is a real thing to begin with. Otherwise, we're just following you. How do you not understand that?
It's literally the foundational position of your entire ethical
Okay, well then why, how do you know communism is true?
Okay, sure. I mean, we can talk about my ethical system. So as a utilitarian.
Oh, see, why did you, this is what's wrong with these lefty squares. So, well, now I can go on a diatribe and tell, no, he asked you a dumb question. Clean up on that shit. Clean up on this shit. Because of the fact that I am not claiming to have all the knowledge of the universe. That's not what my ideology is based on. You are saying that you do have all of the knowledge from the universe. And so, therefore, we should follow you. But if it could be that you're just wrong, then we're just following you. Who the fuck is you?
Okay, sure. I mean, we can talk about my ethical system. So as a utilitarian, I believe in maximizing a set of axioms that I've arbitrarily determined to be things that I prioritize. I think.
So you don't know it's true.
I don't think you can make metaphysical assessments.
Well, then why are you asking me what's true? Who gives a shit?
Because I'm not.
He's so stupid. He's so stupid. Shout out. Is it the same one? Shout out to Zippy DSMLA with the rumble ring. Come on over here, Mort. Mort. Yeah, there he is. There he is. Are we on screen? Oh, we gotta be. Oh, wait. Sorry, bud. Let's get you on screen. There you go. Good boy. Zippy says, government by committee is hell on earth. Also, doubling up with the rumble round. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Zippy goes on to say, commies do think they know everything, though. Yep. Oh no. They are they're doing it, guys. Make sure you join the after party. Make sure you are ready, because as soon as we're done here, we're almost at the 2.5 hour mark. We are headed over to the after party to talk about all it is, and we don't got to worry about YouTube, anybody's censorship. I'm the supreme leader in there, and anything goes.
I don't think you can make metaphysical assessments.
Well, then why are you asking me what's true? Who gives a shit?
Because I'm not making a determinative statement about my.
Is anything ever true?
No, wait, hold. Well, I mean, that really depends on what you mean by true. But you're the one making.
So can you know objective truths? Can you know something is 100% true? Can you know that?
It really depends on the definitions. You'd have to define all of your terms. But also, you're the one, the legitimacy of.
See, and again, like the fact that you're laughing at that, as that's a legitimate thing to say, well, it depends on what you mean by believe and true. And those are, legitimate things. You can't even tell me this. Like, this just shows how far below that you think you're doing a thing. You think you're doing a thing. You remember when St. Michael was here? He's like, do you believe, and with his voice changer, do you believe in subjective morality? And I just said, yes. See? Oh! Like, what? I just answered a question. I can very, very, very succinctly explain to you why I believe in subjective morality, and that has nothing to do with anything that you think you did. You think you did a thing, but you ain't do shit.
Your claims sort of rests upon the idea that your moral beliefs, your duties, your precepts, your obligations, or whatever, are ones that I should respect. Whereas my axioms are things like human happiness, which I challenge you. If you don't respect things like human happiness, I would argue that you don't even have a right to be dictating policy for anybody, because
based on what? You just said that your system is arbitrary. So why should I respect an arbitrary system that doesn't even claim to have any sort of command?
Oh no, Guamtech tried. He tried, but he failed. I appreciate the effort. A for effort, my friend.
System is arbitrary. So why should I respect an arbitrary system that doesn't even claim to have any sort of command other than what you come up with out of your own brain as a preference?
This is because this is what the marketplace of ideas does. Instead of just commanding, well, God said it, so it must be right. We actually look at the validity of the idea and the practicality of whether it actually applies to what you think it does or not. That's what dogma ends. Dogma ends the ability to discuss rationally. And that is the only way. That is the only way.
It's like you getting upset with somebody else because you're arguing that their decisions aren't even made by the invisible friend that you have. Like, this isn't a battle.
Who are your?
Let's see that one more time.
Out of an arbitrary system that doesn't even claim to have any sort of command other than what you come up with out of your own brain as a preference.
This is like you getting upset with somebody else because you're arguing that their decisions aren't even made by the invisible friend that you have. Like, this isn't a battle.
Who are your decisions made by? You?
So,
yes. But see, we own that. So when I say something that's wrong, I don't get to say, well, it's in the Bible, so it's not my fault. I'm taking it up with God. I got to stand on business. I got to be a man. You can say, no, well, see, it says on page 37 in this book, chapter that. I don't know. I don't have opinions. I can't think for myself. I'm a little baby bitch. Stand on business. Grow some fucking balls. I don't know how well your brain works, but you seem to be not retarded. I don't know, but you seem to be not retarded. You just seem dumb. But exactly, it was like, why should I respect a system edited and controlled by man? Your church is not God. That's the heart of it. And he can't understand why the reality of if God exists has any relevance to Christian theocracy. Or Christian nationalism, whatever the fuck he's calling it. Dylan said, this guy gives me recently became Christian, turned holy zealot vibes. 2 years. 2 years ago. Converted 2 years ago. Called it. Good one.
Friend that you have. Like, this isn't a battle.
Who are your decisions made by? You?
So do you believe that human happiness is a worthwhile goal in terms of maximization?
I think that happiness is something that should be adjusted for, but it's not the primary duty of people to make other people happy.
Adjusted for. Okay.
Fair.
So do you think that a world in which people are happier is a better world than a world in which people are less happy, all other things being equal?
Yes. If all things were equal, I would say that if you had a happier population, that would be better than not having a happier population. Yes, than a less happy population with all things equal.
So yes, like he laid that out. You don't have to lay it out 3 more times.
Now, let me ask that question back to you. Okay, if all things were equal and people prospered, but they were less happy than a nation that prospered less and that nation was happier, which nation would you prefer to prosper? Which?
I bet you this guy doesn't even have a pastor. I bet you he just watches YouTube videos and talks with his YouTube buddies and they talk about, this Bible verse and that Bible verse. Most Christians don't know what the fuck their ideology is. They just have natural human morality, and then they know about Christian morality that happens to be exactly the same for the most part. And they think, oh, I'm such a good Christian. No, you're not. You're just a good person.
Which one would you prefer to live in?
What do you mean by prosper?
Wait, let's go about it.
Now, let me ask that question back to you. Okay, if all things were equal and people prospered, but they were less happy than a nation that prospered less and that nation was happier, which nation would you prefer to prosper? Which one would you prefer to live in?
What do you mean by prosper?
So their health is better, their dynamics are better, almost everything is better. They're just a little bit less happy than the other nation.
So you prosper more, but you're less happy. I would add that seems counter. I would need a better explanation of what do you. It stands to reason that the more you prosper, the less the more happy you would be. We obviously have shit like you can't buy happiness, so I understand the concept, but the question is rather vague. Doug Dixon said you should try to bait him sometime. He needs a good whooping. Pow, pow. Simi said that would be child abuse. I mean, hey, I'm down. I'm down. But he doesn't even care. Like, I wouldn't have anything to argue with him about because he doesn't care if God is real or not. He just likes the package. So if there's nothing, like, that's all it is. He just likes the package. The package is called Christianity. So now he wants Christianity the way that he wants it everywhere. It's that simple. Yeah, exactly. That is some brain logic. 100%. Shout out to Garrett Grant. Oh my goodness. The 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. So much coming up here, Mark. Shout out to Nikki and AJ206 and Daniel Phillips and Goldzier X and CMT. Welcome to being a disciple. Make sure you join the Discord, guys. That gets you access to the after party. We are coming up on the 2.5 hour mark, so we are heading over there shortly. What is going on? Yeah, make sure you get in there. I'll make sure you get the permissions so you can join the after party. Thank you so very much, Garrett. Very much appreciated.
Their dynamics are better. Almost everything is better. They're just a little bit less happy than the other nation.
Why would they be less happy?
A little bit less happy?
Yeah, just a little bit less.
Well, I feel like those things would kind of be factored into the happiness. But if you're arguing like,
I just said all things equal, Vaush. I answered your question in good faith, answered mine in good faith. If all things are equal, one population is just slightly less happy, but the other population by every other metric is doing better than the population that's just slightly less happy.
But that's not all other things.
It's your moral imperative to go.
That's not all other things being equal. Like if you're prospering, then and you're not happy, that's not all things being equal. One is prospering and is less happy.
Go to the population which is less happy.
You can't.
Yeah, it's baked into the hypothetical. All things equal.
Again, look at the smile. You know when somebody knows what they know.
You can't say all things equal and then say every other thing is different.
You can't ask me the same question.
Wait, hold on. I'm answering your question.
If this is the most bad faith debate tactics I've ever.
How do you know that? How do you know it's bad faith if you don't even know what he said yet? He hasn't said the thing yet. You have to let him say the bad faith thing and then say, hey, that's bad faith. You can't guess that somebody's going to be bad faith because you know what that is? Being bad faith.
Oh my God, I'm answering your question. You're so like right off the cuff. You're so ready to be
Then do it. Then answer it.
Do it. It's funny that you would say all things being equal, but then you would say
answer the question.
Every other thing is different.
Yeah.
I guess that would. I guess I'm just struggling to imagine. But if it's like they're much healthier and more prosperous, I guess I think it would really depend on other circumstances because there are other axiomatic values that I think you could adjust for.
So then happiness is not the primary value. So then shut up, Vaush. Your argument's stupid. Your fucking argument.
Yeah, it's birth rate, bro. Don't you know?
It's stupid.
So wait, how did I miss them both last?
Then shut up, Vaush. Your argument's stupid. Your fucking argument's stupid.
So no, it's
Andrew's laughing because he thinks he got an own, and Vaush is laughing because Andrew thinks he got an own. Got it.
One of them. That's why I said axioms with an S. There are multiple things that you would try to.
So why tell me, Andrew, we can't accept your system because it doesn't make happiness the primary thing. And then when I give you the same exact example back, you also claim happiness can't be the primary thing.
Again, that you got to listen better.
There's multitudes of things that you have to adjust for, Vaush.
Okay, so what are the multitudes of things for you?
Vaush. So I would look at virtues. I would look at duties. I would look at outcomes. I would look at all of these as a holistic.
Outcomes
as a holistic.
So you notice how every time I ask you for specific questions about what it is you're trying to do or what changes you're trying to make, you sort of generalize by waving your hands at this broad, vague, indeterminable like group of virtues that you probably don't actually subscribe to or believe in. Early on in this debate, you
which virtues do you think I don't subscribe to? You haven't even asked me what they are.
So
you haven't even asked me what they are.
I have. I've been asked.
We skipped a whole chunk of him asking you, what is it that you believe? What do you want the outcomes in a society to be? Like, well, I said I wanted to be better and more prenatal or pronatal.
Dude, you can't be like, bro, you didn't even ask. I've been asking for like half an hour.
No, you just said, give me a broad, give me a broad overview. And when I do, you say, why didn't you give me anything more specific?
This is why Christianity is dead. Christianity is on its deathbed at the very best. Now, I think that it's a good thing because Christianity is something that you can have with your family and other people in the community that brings people together and you believe in something and it's innocuous. It's when you get people like Andrew who want to codify your imaginary beliefs into law and force me to abide by your things that you can't prove that it becomes a problem. So good. I'm glad that people like Andrew exist. I'm glad that people like Andrew are making Vaush look good. I'm glad that Andrew is out here spreading this word. And we didn't have the chat, but a lot of people are siding with Andrew. Maybe that has to do with who Vaush is, but all I can tell is that people are siding with Andrew. So if you want to win politics, I don't care what the fuck you believe in your head. I do not care. I do not care. Unless it's going to allow you to inoculate your ideas from criticism. AKA dogma.
Give me a broad, you say, give me a broad overview. And when I do, you say, why didn't you give me anything more specific? If you have a specific...
To be fair, Andrew did say about banning abortion. That's one he gave. And the second one he gave is, I know there was one more. It was something about...
Shout out to Eldridge Blaze. Welcome to the party. I completely agree. That's why with the title, I was like, they debate. How do they both lose? But welcome.
So those are policy positions, but why?
You asked for those too.
Exactly.
I've answered every question you've had, and you've been as evasive as possible.
So why are these things virtues? What is a virtue? Give me an example. Policies to maximize what?
So if you're talking about virtues themselves, when you were talking about virtue as morality, virtues are the building blocks of what makes a person. So we're looking at the actual behaviors of the person to judge whether or not the person is moral. That would be a virtue. So I can give you many of those types of virtues. I think you would likely agree with them. But with the virtue in Christian ethics comes duty. So you have a duty, for instance, to obey Lord Jesus Christ's teachings. You have duties to do these things as well. So these things work together. The church itself has given virtues which are passed down from Christ Lord, who explains what these virtues are supposed to be and how you are supposed to act and behave in society and how you're supposed to act and behave towards other people or untowards to other people.
And why
under your system, why should I listen to yours? It's the same criticism back.
So I keep answering this. And
yeah.
So the reason why, so they have two different reasons for having stupid ideas. Vaush has stupid ideas because they don't work. Andrew has stupid ideas because of the reason he has the ideas. It's not enough. It's not enough to want good things. You have to be able to articulate what those things are to other people who think differently. Otherwise, you're just in a circle jerk. You're just grabbing onto the next Christian's dick and fuck you, Christianity, oh my God, you, oh God, yeah. Stand on business. Shout out to Derry Singleton. Like, just got here. Oh boy, here we go. Indeed. Welcome to the party. Garrett said, other side of the coin, what type of Christian theology would Andrew think would be best for overall happiness? His own, of course. His own. Because Vaush asked him this earlier, and according to Andrew, there's only two types of Christianity. There's only two. There's the Catholic Church, and there's Orthodox Christian. And of course, the one that he belongs to, the Orthodox Christian, as of 2 years ago, remember, only 2 years, he converted to the born again. He is the one that's got the right answer. The rest of us who've been thinking about this shit for 20 years have no idea. We have no idea. But Andrew, in the last 2 years, oh man, look out for this guy. Yeah, it's
why should I listen to yours? It's the same criticism back.
So
you shouldn't.
I keep answering this. And
no,
please.
You shouldn't listen to him, but that doesn't mean we should listen to you.
Okay, well, fine. I'll give you the same answer because it's axiomatic.
So, that's not what I was going to say. You don't.
But that's what your answer was. Your answer was just that it's axiomatic.
Well, kind of. But if you asked him why they would be axiomatic, whether you agree or disagree, he would have a reason for you.
You have to earn the right to be blasé and dismissive about another person's ideas. You have to know what they are first. So the difference is, I don't think you can make determinative claims about the metaphysical. I think that in order to have any ethical system, you have to admit that there is a degree of arbitrarity and bias, and you have to work from that. The problem that I have with divine command theory is not that it's metaphysical in nature, because so is mine. The difference is that I acknowledge the arbitrarity, something I think everyone has to.
Why would that make it better?
You have to let me finish, because you make it up.
Okay, so here, let's just go this way and do what Destiny did to Sneeko. Okay, Andrew. So if God said tomorrow that it was okay to RP children, would you, or that you have to RP children to get into heaven, would you do it? That's what's wrong with your ideology, you fucking moron.
I think everyone has to.
Why would that make it better?
You have to let me finish because you make it up. So it's like
so do you.
No, there's a huge difference.
Yes, no, yes, Vaush, you do have to make it up. But then you do the intellectual work behind it to stand on it. Yes, we make it up. There are no rules to the universe. There's no handbook that you get when you're born. There's no handbook that was created at the time of the Big Bang. And I don't care what you think happened before the Big Bang, whether or not you think that makes sense or not. There is no rule. So yes, we make it up. And whether you want to pretend that you're getting it from some other divine authority or not is up to you. But you are making it up. There's a reason that you've decided that there's only 2 types of Christianity. That didn't come from the Bible. That didn't come from anywhere else but your own fucked up head. But you can't see that you are doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Or actually, no. I apologize. Because he said exactly that. He said exactly that. He talked about feminists and communists. And look what they did in 150 years. We can do it in 100. If you are modeling yourself after feminists or the woke, or Marxist, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't want to be your friend. If you're modeling yourself after both of them, please get the fuck out of any proximity to me.
Criticism applied. So do you,
please, Andrew. You are so ready to interrupt. Okay, so there is a huge.
Well, otherwise you're going to diatribe for the next year.
Oh, another red flag. Hold on. So, you know, there are definite, there's a give and take to this. There is a too much and a too little. When somebody's just rambling, yeah, that's obnoxious. But when somebody is taking time to explain something, and it takes a while to explain, but they are being productive in what they are saying, they're moving from point A to point B. And you can't listen to it because you're too dumb. Your attention span is not long enough to be able to comprehend what they're saying. That's a knock on you, dude. That's a knock on you. For all we could say about Vaush, and we definitely will when it comes up and it's relevant. For all we can say about Vaush, here, I wouldn't use the word concise, but he's being direct. What else do you want? For him to agree with everything you say. No. God, Andrew's so right. He's so right. Yeah. I just said, first time I heard Andrew was a few days ago on the Whatever podcast. And gosh, he is a clear grifter. Obviously. Yeah, the first time, I think that is also the first time I heard of him when he was on Whatever. I didn't know of him. The first time I knew of him was when he was on Lauren Chen's channel, and he was like, why should secular people be allowed to have children? What? That's going to win over votes, right?
It's a huge.
Well, otherwise you're going to diatribe for the next year.
You can learn from it. There is a huge difference between saying, I don't think we can make determinative metaphysical statements. However, I do think
is that a determinative statement?
Andrew, let's let Vaush finish this point, and then you can respond.
Go ahead.
However, if we decide to prioritize these things, I think it's good for people. So, for example, I don't think it's possible to objectively. Yes, that's the point.
Exactly. Not God thinks. This is what I think. This is what I've taken the time to think about the logic of this, and not just accepted it whole. Walk 5,000 style. You fucking. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying not to get banned.
I'm the one 10,000 years ago who says I don't know why the lightning strikes, and you're the one who says that it must be because the gods are angry. You make fun of me for not being willing to make a statement you can't justify, but that's your weakness in my logic.
Oh, Vaush for the win! Something I never thought I would say on this channel. Certainly not like 4 times in a stream, but one more time.
I think it's good.
Go ahead.
However, if we decide to prioritize these things, I think it's good for people. So, for example, I don't think it's possible to objectively. Yes, That's the point.
That's
the difference is I'm the one 10,000 years ago who says, I don't know why the lightning strikes. And you're the one who says that it must be because the gods are angry. You make fun of me for not being willing to make a statement you can't justify, but that's your weakness in my logic. So I can acknowledge
You don't have any logic.
Weakness of metaphysical.
That's his comment. Well, you don't have any logic, as he just lays out a very, very logical statement. You don't have any logic. Are you 12? Are you 12?
Our logic. So I can acknowledge
You don't have any logic.
Weakness of metaphysical arguments, and I think it's a necessary presupposition when discussing ethics. Your arguments rely on a presumptive statement about the metaphysical God that you can't justify, and that is the critical difference. If you asked me, how do you know that human happiness is good to prioritize for? I would.
Right, he would have had an answer for you. And I, personally, probably would have disagreed with what his answer is, but he would have thought far enough to have an answer. And when that is the bar, I don't know, guys. I don't know what else I need to do to show you that you can be the strongest Christian in the world. It's just not going to help American politics. Leave the shit at home, in the church, in the Bible, in your Bible study. Not because it's not allowed, but because you want to live in a better society. Do what's best for you. We make fun of the hedonists on the left. Oh, they think they're happy, and then they're doing this. You think you're happy, yelling about, oh, God, 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 Jesus, this, that. And then the leftists win again and destroy the country even more. And you're different? You're different? How is that? How is that? You seem just as fucking dumb to me.
If you asked me, how do you know that human happiness is good to prioritize for? I would answer, you know what? I don't think I can objectively prove that. I think I can gesture at what human happiness has done for the world.
So then you have nothing.
And I think that it makes people better. I think that it improves
so then you
Whereas
I want to tell you. Okay, so when you're almost done, how much longer does that mean?
I need to know how long you're going to talk because my attention span is only 7 seconds.
I'll give him another 30 seconds and then I'll let you interrupt.
Yeah. So the difference with you is that for your positions to make sense.
Pay attention, guys, because this is huge. I mean, I don't remember exactly this point, but this, if he's going, this is like the meat of why Christianity in general does not belong in politics. It's not a bad way to think in general. I mean, aside from the dogma, I don't think you should have a dogma for anything. But if you're going to have a dogma, Christianity is probably the most benign one you can have. In politics, we're talking about politics. This is why you need to understand that pushing the reason that you are conservative and it being God and Jesus and religion is not helping you. It is hurting you. The same way the feminists, oh, free the nipple, that's not helping your cause. The same way the gays, oh, pride, yeah, we're gonna do that is not helping you. You are doing the same thing. This is exactly the same thing as a gay dude pretending to fuck in public, in the street, in a pride parade. It is exactly the same thing. It is the other side of the exact same coin. Tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead. Try to tell me I'm wrong about that. Oh my God, I would love to hear how you think that that's not the case. Nick says, just my opinion, but I think man made up the idea of God to explain things. Just like the sun god and the rain gods and Zeus and Osiris and all the other gods. Yes, they're all to explain things that we do not yet understand. So yeah, God didn't create us, and I would be happy to find out if I'm wrong. I'm atheist, but it doesn't mean I'm against God. Exactly. No beef. Just like Funkmaster General's sister's pastor, right? Whoever it was. No beef. Fair enough. I'll just blade. So Arthur is making the argument the nation should be religion. Yeah. This guy is saying it should be that Christian nationalism should be the way that our government works. Nah, dude. Nah. Even other Christians are like, hell no. What? No.
Yeah. So the difference with you is that for your positions to make sense, you're referring to like the word of God. You have to explain why that should be listened to. My argument for why my axioms are relevant is to gesture at the world and say, is happiness not good? That's the most I can do. Yours is to say, well, you also can't prove your axioms, which I know. That's the point. But you have to prove yours, because otherwise you're essentially engaging in like a postmodernist defense of not believing in God while repeating his suppositions. It makes no sense.
As stated before, and you just demonstrated, any criticism you move towards me is equally applied to you. You just got done stating that your system is arbitrary. Let me finish. That your system is arbitrary, that your system is not grounded, that you yourself and your axioms cannot be demonstrated, while demanding that I demonstrate mine. However,
right. So which one is the one saying that I have the exact correct answers? One is saying, I think this is the best way. And he's wrong, but he's honest. And he said, I think this is the right way. The other guy is saying, I know for sure this is the way to go. And the guy who is wrong is saying, okay, how do you know that that's the right way? Well, your way is wrong. You can't prove your way, so my way must be right. That's not how logic works. Just like, yeah, both sides of the same authoritarian coin. They are both the same person. This is the woke left versus the woke right. The people who won't watch X-Men because, oh, I heard it was woke. You are the woke right. Have a fucking opinion. Have a fucking opinion. X-Men was fucking awesome. Yeah, there were some issues. Me and Guantech, we're going to talk about that. Pop Culture Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. This Friday, me and Guantech are going over X-Men 97. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, there was some wokeness in it. But guess what? It was good. It was a good-ass story. It was a good-ass story. It was entertaining. It was heartfelt. If you're so, I need the word. I don't know what the word is, but if you're so empty and easily led that somebody, and I'm not going to name names, but somebody who runs a pop culture channel said, oh, I didn't watch it. I heard it was woke. You should be cleaning up right now. Making video after video after video after video after video after video about X-Men. Specifically, if you talk about, you know, stuff from, not just like the new pop culture stuff, but pop culture in general and stuff from the past and whatever. But like, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It seems like nobody wants to do anything. Everybody just wants what they want. I want what I want, but I'm willing to fucking sit here and do the shit that needs to be done. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm moving boulders, but I'm not claiming that I'm moving boulders. Like I said, I'd rather live with a moral atheist than an immoral Christian. I said, shit, me too. Except, but that's not just you, bro. That is not just you. Nick says, if you agree or disagree, I'm willing to hear your thoughts. I'm willing to admit I'm wrong if I am, or I think I am. Imagine that. Imagine that. Accepting that maybe you don't know everything about the fucking universe. I was gonna tell Dan. We had a thing. We were talking about Discord. He's like, all right, pick your best episodes and we'll see. And after last week, I was like, no, that's stupid. I have no desire to prove to you that that X-Men. If you think it's woke, then don't fucking watch it. I don't give a shit. But I think it looks great. I think the stories are phenomenally told. Is it perfect? Obviously not. But did I get turned off by the? That was weird phrasing. Did I feel like I couldn't watch the show because there was 3 seconds where they turned Morph into a they them and he's walking by Wolverine and there's steam in the shower and ooh, that's the entirety of any LGBT shit in the entire fucking show. But oh no, we can't. It's woke. And I mean, you know, we'll talk about more of this on Friday, but like, that's the opposite of wokeness. The wokeness is to make the Mary Sue character. I'm gonna get triggered on that. So all right, let's finish up here. Let's see whatever somebody makes a point here, and then let's head to the after party.
Axioms cannot be demonstrated while demanding that I demonstrate mine. However, if I'm going from your worldview, which I'm just trying to do, I'm just trying to go from your worldview, the utilitarian worldview, I still can make a better case for why Christian ethics in society is far superior to your libertarian communism, and have made good arguments for why that is the case, even just using birth rates, and you have refuted none of it. This is a joke. By the way, you say that you can't make a deterministic statement, which is a deterministic statement. How dumb are you, Vaush?
Again, I refer to my anecdote about 10,000 years ago watching lightning crash in the sky, where you're like, dude, yeah, I think it's the angry men in the sky. You don't even know what it is. You admit you don't know. So now you're saying that I'm wrong when I say it's angry men in the sky. It's like returning to like primeval logical fallacies. I feel like you're in, like, the shadow puppets could dance on the walls in front of you, and you could like have your entire ethical system be.
Morty will get a treat if somebody knows what it is that Vaush just referenced. I know you know it. I've spoken about it. I've explained it at length to some of you that are here. So listen again. What is Vaush talking about? And why is this a fucking killer burn, dude?
It's like, it is. You admit you don't know. So now you're saying that I'm wrong when I say it's angry men in the sky. It's like returning to like primeval logical fallacies. I feel like you're in, like, the shadow puppets could dance on the walls in front of you, and you could like have your entire ethical system be.
Well, Vaush, do you?
Nuked out of orbit. If you know what the fuck just happened, does anybody know what just happened? Nobody has heard of the allegory of the cave. So how's that lead balloon fly? Libertarian communism? Straw man argument. Okay, let's do this. We'll end on this. I think they're good. What did I do? Oh, no. Hold on. I can't see anything. Jesus. Hold on. I made it too big. I can't see my thing. I need my controls. Where are my goddamn controls? All right, whatever. I don't care. We're almost done. Oh, there they are. All right. Anyway. Okay. What are we doing here?
What is reality? Knowledge, the meaning of life. Big topics you might tackle figuratively, explaining existence as a journey down a road or across an ocean, a climb, a war, a book, a thread, a game, a window of opportunity, or an all too short-lived flicker of flame. 2,400 years ago, one of history's most famous thinkers said life is like being chained up in a cave, forced to watch shadows flitting across a stone wall. Pretty cheery, right? That's actually what Plato suggested in his Allegory of the Cave, found in Book 7 of the Republic, in which the Greek philosopher envisioned the ideal society by examining concepts like justice, truth, and beauty. In the allegory, a group of prisoners have...
Wait, side quest on a side quest. Did y'all see the clip of I don't remember how the conversation, but it was a black dude and a black woman on a podcast, and they were recording, and it was one of those moments where it's like the dude was trying to be like, "Isn't this a weird moment?" And then everybody was like, "What?" And he was saying something like, "Wait, y'all oh, fuck, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it turns out he's like, how do you not get doo-doo on your hands or something?" I'm like, what? Like, you mean like if it goes through? Like, no, like when you catch it. Like, what do you mean catch it? What? Y'all don't catch your dumps? You just let it splash right in the toilet. Yes. Yes. That's exactly what I do. I do not hold my turds. Sorry, that reminded me of that. Anyway, moving on.
Concepts like justice, truth, and beauty. In the
American
allegory,
way.
a group of prisoners have been confined in a cavern since birth, with no knowledge of the outside world. They are chained facing a wall, unable to turn their heads, while a fire behind them gives off a faint light. Occasionally, people pass by the fire, carrying figures of animals and other objects that cast shadows on the wall. The prisoners name and classify these illusions.
So again, we have these guys facing the wall over here, and the only light is coming from the fire and the opening of the cave. So they can't see any of the stuff, but this guy's walking behind them, and so the light is over here, and it casts a shadow, which they can see.
Believing they're perceiving actual entities. Suddenly, one prisoner is freed and brought outside for the first time. The sunlight hurts his eyes, and he finds the new environment disorienting. When told that the things around him are real, while the shadows were mere reflections.
I said, shit, me too.
He cannot believe it. The shadows appeared much clearer to him, but gradually his eyes adjust until he can look at reflections in the water, at objects directly, and finally at the sun, whose light is the ultimate source of everything he has seen.
Right. That was a good frame right there. You can see, obviously, I mean, you guys know what shadows are, but that's a good, full circle kind of deal.
Finally, at the sun, whose light is the ultimate source of everything he has seen. The prisoner returns to the cave to share his discovery.
That's me. That's me. Like, guys, trust me.
But he is no longer used to the darkness and has a hard time seeing the shadows on the wall. The other prisoners think the journey has made him stupid and blind and violently resist. And
maybe one day you'll find your way back to God. Maybe one day, if you pray hard enough and live just as he wants you to.
He attempts to free them. Plato introduces this passage as an analogy of what it's like to be a philosopher trying to educate the public. Most people are not just comfortable in their ignorance, but hostile to anyone who points it out. In fact, the real-life Socrates was sentenced to death by the Athenian government for disrupting the social order, and his student Plato spends much of the Republic disparaging Athenian democracy, while promoting rule by philosopher kings. With the cave parable, Plato made—
Guys, chill. We're gonna do it. I don't, fucking take everything Guantek's got to say. He's my co-host, and I need him. We're gonna talk about it on Friday. Chill.
Arguing that the masses are too stubborn and ignorant to govern themselves. But the allegory has captured imaginations for 2,400 years because it can be read in far more ways.
So this part here, or the stubborn and ignorant and the self-rule, this is what has, not this specifically, but this image very well exemplifies why I've moved away from the notion of thinking that, people can just be moral on their own. And shout out to Nick for actually having integrity. And some of us can. Some of us can handle this life without a God. A lot of you cannot. A lot of you cannot. So I'm glad that you do have a God to give you that structure. However, because of the fact that I don't think that that God is actually real, I would like to help and to free you from the mental slavery of Christianity or religion or dogma in general. Just like the guy in the cave, he knew what was better. But because the masses, the other two, determined that that was wrong and stupid, they never saw anything but the shadows. And right now, y'all are locked up in the cave, looking at the wall, and I'm screaming in your face. I am screaming in your face that there's something else out there, that there is something worthwhile. This is me. And because I don't understand Christianity as I did before, it's like, oh, you don't get it. No, I fucking get it. I get that you don't get it. There's a lot of things I don't get. And I'm okay with that. Why can't you be? Quantek said, gotta know, I'm still going to strive to always be a better man by the day. Why not? I can't answer that, but a lot of other people definitely would have an answer for that and would decide and continue to decide not to be better. So it is up to us to create this structure. And that's what we're doing. Little by little, bit by bit, stream by stream, video by video, comment by comment, super chat by super chat. We are making this happen. It's going to take time, guys. It's going to take time. There's going to be a lot of people who look at us like this, who think that that we're just dumb because we don't get it. We don't get it. Read the Bible. It's right there, right? Is it though? Is it though? Eldridge says, I say as long as a religion doesn't radicalize you and change your life completely to the point where you believe to be superior. I think that's inherent. I don't think that you can have a belief that you have the right answers to the universe and not think that you are superior. I do not believe that that exists. Even with you guys. I do believe that you think subconsciously, if you are a Christian, if you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, that you think that you have some version of supremacy in the realm of spiritualism. And that, again, that's not like race supremacy where you like, I think I have supremacy because I understand things better than I think a lot of you do. And that's why it's about the conversation, because we're not getting a handbook. We're not getting somebody to hand down, here's the right answer. We have to figure it out ourselves. We have to figure it out ourselves. And the only way we can do that is get better at understanding and articulating. If you understand and you can articulate what you understand, then you will get things right, or at least as right as we can. Dogma, putting ideas in a cage and not letting anyone else touch them. That's not the answer. I promise you that. I said I believe, but also respect others, their opinions and beliefs. I don't try to convert anyone, and I keep to myself. Yeah, and I think that is what religion should be. It should be a personal relationship with whatever it is that you experience. And I appreciate those of you that do keep it that way. But I stand by what I said. I do think that if you know, in the same way that I think I have better ideas than you as a Christian in the spiritual realm, it would be silly to think that you had worse ideas than me, right? And so that's okay, but we still have to yeah, exactly. And that's why we're all going to go far together. It's going to happen, guys. So thank you so very much, guys. I really, really do appreciate you spending this time with me, hanging out, getting into this stuff. It's important. So let's shout out our boy Gwan Tech, sent the $5 Venmo. We had our boy Gary Grant with the 5 gifted memberships. Again, guys, if you did get a gifted membership, make sure you join the Discord. We are headed over there right now. Actually, I am already in the after party. I'm there already. So make sure you head over. And of course, the sponsor of the stream, our boy, the Funk Master General. Let's not forget we had our boy Zippy DSM with the 2 different Rumble rants. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We had the and then what was this? This was our comment of the night. Our comment of the night. And Andrew just matte washed himself. Does seem to be a theme. So I really want to know what you guys think about all of this. So definitely head on over to the Discord, whether you're in the after party or not. Again, it is free to join, so you can be part of the conversation without any money. But it does start at $2.99 a month. I mean, come on, that's less than a cup of coffee. And support what we are doing here. So thank you again. Where is this? Thank you. Thank you so much. I will see you guys in the after party, or I will see you probably tomorrow when I do another vertical live stream. So keep those notifications on, hit that subscribe, ring the bell, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much. Once again, this is Morty Sleeping, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.